mention the FA Cup, or did he gloss over it? He did mention it, because I didn't hear most of the first part of it. Right. What a match! Because I had to speed watch the whole thing. I had it all recorded because I was doing another job earlier this afternoon, and I have to have a lie down in between that job and this job. And so I had about 45 minutes to watch the entire match. And I thought, well, I'll speed through the first half, and then I'll watch the second half in full. But then it went to extra time, and all my plans went completely out the window. But, and so I'm watching a game at 6 times normal speed. Kind of ruins it a little bit, but good grief, unbelievable. So anyway, thanks for all the get well cards so that oh no, that's right, I didn't get any. Yeah, thanks very much. Me having had a near-death experience and all. How are you doing, Lucy?
I'm alright, actually. I've been just fighting off a cold slightly, but I'm alright.
Right, well that's nice, but we're talking about me.
Sorry, how are you?
I'm fine. You know the last Sunday that I did the show here? I felt like I was having a heart attack for the whole 3 hours.
Yeah, I find that quite worrying that you only told me that afterwards.
Well, what were you going to do? Come in and give me CPR?
Well, we could have got somebody here on standby or someone to help you or something, or...
Now, note that the first thing that she thought was get somebody here on standby. Not helping me second.
No, that
stand by
primary,
first.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, driving home afterwards, that's a bit of a worry, isn't
it? Stupid. But, throughout the whole show, it felt like an elephant had parked itself on my chair. Like Vanessa Feltz had come in and sat down, right here.
It didn't affect your voice, though. You know, I thought I would have been a bit, ooh, sort of.
Who? Yes. No, it was like Vanessa Feltz was actually sitting on me throughout the entire programme. And you know, every morning you watch the BBC Breakfast News, and her face pops up like a jack-in-the-box. Suddenly there she is, and bits of muesli are spewing across the living room. Oh, my God, there she is again. Because she comes up almost without warning. This sort of platinum is her hair. Who does her hair? Well, she works in a radio studio, so she probably hasn't got anybody there to do it for her. All the TV news people, they go in makeup and before they go on the screen, right? She's just bowled up, straight from bed. And it looks just like it. It's like she just sat up, is what it looks like. And she's in a radio studio where they haven't got makeup and hair and all these people faffing around you. And she's got her, I don't know what it is. Is that real? It looks like metal. It's just falling on her shoulders. Awful. And she has this thing where she nods her head back and forward like she's trying to headbutt you as she's talking. Absolutely painful. And it's always something like, people are getting stabbed in the face. What do you think? Oh, give it a rest, Vanessa. So anyway, I've had a heck of a week. I can barely walk. Because, sort of like I had this incredible tightness in my chest on Sunday, and my heart felt like it was trying to jump out of my body. So I went to a specialist. Have you ever been to a private doctor? I'll tell you what, insurance, never mind about insuring your house and insuring your car and insuring your contents and all of that stuff can go up in flames. If you're ill, you wouldn't mind losing the lot of it just to get your health back. Private medical insurance. Dip your hands in your pockets and get it for yourself. And, but when you get private medical insurance, although you don't pay most of your doctor's bills, unless you go to a doctor who doesn't agree with the tallies that have been set by your private medical insurer, he is so super fantastic that he charges way more than they would expect. So you have to, fill in the difference. But whether you're paying or not, the insurance company send you the bill. And when you go to the doctor, you think, well, it's all in, what could a doctor be? It's like like a super specialist with a Maserati parked in his driveway. That'll be like £100 to see him, right? That'll be it. Oh, no. It's £100 to walk in the door, and then every single thing he does or says comes with an extra charge. And it's almost like friendly greeting, warm smile and a handshake, £25. It's of that order. Provision of chair for patient, £26. pursing of lips, peering over spectacles, adoption of a caring tone, £65. It just goes on and on and on. And just going in, like driving into his driveway costs you £1,000, which the insurance company seems happy to spend. Fine with me. And so I went to the NH. I had to actually go to. I foolishly drove myself to A&E, which was packed full of people. Have you ever been to A&E? Right? How long do you expect to stay there? Waiting 6 hours, right? Yeah, that was the. I just preempted you, and that was the very thing that you held up. Six fingers you held. Not minutes, right? Hours. Hour upon endless hour, with your cheeks sweating into a plastic chair, such that they might actually fuse, and you'll never be able to stand up again. Oh, blimey, is this pain ever going to end? It's almost worth just dying, just to stop waiting. But oh no, not for me. I marched in, here's a tip, I marched in and said, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they ushered me straight through, instantly. On beds, oxygen, tubes coming out of me, the whole bit. I was in for 2 days. And they eventually shrugged their shoulders and said, well, we don't know, there's nothing wrong with you. So I thought, oh, great, what's this then? And they got no idea. And so I went to the private man, and he said, well, what you need is, we need to do further investigations. Yeah, there should be a bell tolling with that phrase, further investigations. So I went into a private hospital. Oh, the difference is, I would like to spend a holiday in that private hospital. They couldn't possibly have been nicer, because you arrive, like I arrived in an advanced state of stress, because I'm supposed to be there at 7:15 in the morning. So I get a cab from a guy who doesn't know where he's going. Brilliant start. And we get to within 500 yards of the hospital, and there's a giant accident that's happened. Apparently a Porsche was racing motorcyclists, only one of whom lived to tell the tale. So they'd cordoned off this entire road, the only way that it appeared, or that the cab driver knew how to get to this hospital. And so he starts sucking his teeth. I've got no idea where he came from, but London was a mystery to him. And he started just driving randomly, just taking side roads and getting more and more irritated the further away that we appeared to get, and the less likely it was that we would ever find our way back. And then he started, like, shouting at me over his shoulder, I don't know where I am. I thought, oh, no. And then suddenly the pressure started building in my chest again, and I'm getting flushing, and I thought, oh, my last moment on this earth is going to be on a greasy seat in the back of a Toyota, driven by a guy from another continent who's shouting at me and sucking his teeth while listening to Smooth FM. And I thought, I can't die to that. I have to hang on. So I'm trying to calm him down while preventing myself from dying from having a heart attack, right? I said, stop shouting at me. He's going, I'm not shouting at you. Well, you are shouting at me. So I said, just take me back to where the accident was and I'll walk through it. Like the 500 yards it was to get there. Walking being, the thing that sets it off in the first place. And I had to walk past an accident, right, which looked horrible. And I'm trying not to look at it, because I know that'll just stress me more. So I eventually got to the hospital, and, oh, blimey, they stroke you as soon as you come in the front door. This woman, she must have been taking the drugs that they gave me before the operation, which were great, by the way. I wish I was on them right now. It was like she was stroking me like a cat from the moment I walked in. It's like, oh, marvellous. And up until the point where they wheel you into the operating theatre. So they give you the Valium. I expect it was Valium, and I start giggling. I say, "Oh, you're happy now?" I'm like, yes, I am. And then the doctor came in. Crippen, I think, was the name on his name tag. And he said, "This won't hurt a bit," before he started slashing and probing and pushing. And have you ever had an angiogram? I don't recommend it. If you have a bored day and you think, what shall I do today? Don't have an angiogram. Not to be recommended. They make a hole in your groin. If there's one area in my body I don't want an extra hole, that's right. And then they push a tube that's 3 feet long up you. And squirt dye inside you. That's right. While taking pictures. Now I know what it's like to be Chantel. And, after the pain subsided, he comes in and says, there's nothing wrong with you. So, there it is. Great. After all that.
That's a relief.
Yeah, I suppose so. I wish I'd known that before.
What's happening?
Do you want to put him back on?
I wonder why.
If you've never...
Our engineer was having such a nice time with it. He was like sitting back, had his feet up, relaxed, and suddenly everything went horribly wrong. I expect it was my fault. Well, look at those phones. They're lit up like, they're not. 0870 9090 973. Am I doing this right? I suppose in a pinch I could give money away. Do I really need to start doing this right now? Like begging for calls? This is weak. In my condition as well, having had a near-death experience, as previously explained. Having to carry this... I'll be sitting here talking for 3 hours. So how's your week been then, Lucy? I'll talk to you.
Okay, I had a good week. I went to see Christian Slater on Tuesday, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Ah. How was he?
He was very good, actually.
Was he fat? Yes.
No, I didn't think he was fat, but I thought he was normal, average guy. Looking. No, which I think is quite good.
Normal, average guy.
I would almost expect him to look super swanky, but didn't do it for me in that way.
Right.
No.
Well, how was the it seems at the West End, all they can do is do versions of movies.
Yeah.
It's either a... all right, do you want to take that?
Yes.
It's either, I'm going to have to use my cough button. Oh, there's tea backing up on me. It seems that they can only get audiences to go and see versions of movies that have already been made, or musicals that have also previously been made into musicals. And my problem with both of those things is that, what's the point? It couldn't possibly be as good as a movie, well, with one exception. I mean, you're not going to get better than Jack Nicholson, and they got Christian Slater because he does a good Jack Nicholson, and Jack's not available. But it's not going to be as good as the movie because the movie was, it was rehearsed and filmed, and they took 6 months to make it rather than just putting it on in the space of 2 hours. It's just not the same. And anyway, I've always felt that watching a play, there's something unreal about it. Bizarrely, a movie is more real and realistic than watching people actually do it. Do you know what I mean? There's just something phony about it that I just can't get past. Musicals are all right because the nature of them is phony. But the problem with musicals is that you've seen the movie and the same rule applies. They took 6 months to make the movie. They got the best people that were possibly available. It's had direction and it's been edited to within an inch of its life, and it just looks fantastic. Whereas on stage, they've got a very limited budget and a very limited space in which to do it, and they're also limited by the four walls that surround them, and it's just not the same, with one exception. Every musical I've seen on stage has not been a patch on the equivalent filmed version of that musical. And I know that most of them start as stage productions, but actually two exceptions. And one was Chicago. The film of Chicago was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. That won Best Oscar. Well, for Best Movie, didn't it, when that came out, whatever year that was? They must have made the people who vote for these things an offer they couldn't refuse, because that was so bad, it was just painful to look at. Richard Gere can't dance. Or sing. And neither, it seemed, could anybody else in that movie. It's like they went out of their way to pick people who weren't right for the movie. Are you signalling to me, or You're just playing with your nose. Okay. We just want you to be comfortable with your nose. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Anything Goes. That's another one. With Elaine Page, who's a woman that I avoided like the plague, for no particular reason other than that she was Elaine Page. Oh, yeah, I know why. Because she had that hit, whatever that was. It was probably that thing that Madonna was in. Another stinker. Shall I take some of these? Or shall I rip the West End a new one? All right, let's go with Louise.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Oh, I'm worried about you now, you know.
Well, apparently there's nothing to be worried about.
Good, that's good. Right, Vanessa Feltz, she's annoying. She's everywhere. I'm like, what for? And I wish she'd just go away.
Is she everywhere?
Yeah.
Where?
Like, you always see her in magazines and stuff like that. She's one of the most celebrities that always gets a photo taken.
What magazines are you reading that Vanessa Feltz is in?
The crappy celebrity ones.
Right,
Look at how much
the
weight
supermarket checkout magazines.
Yeah.
Right.
The ones that you get to read on the bus and then throw away.
I find it hard to believe that they'd be interested in taking a photograph of Vanessa Feltz.
It's like, look at how much weight she's lost. No, she hasn't.
I don't think she has, no. Mind you, of course, where you are, you don't get to see her, but on BBC Breakfast News, which is, by the way stupider than Sky Breakfast News, which is a shocking thing to say, really, isn't it? The BBC puts on a stupider news programme than Sky. I mean, that's just awful that they do that. But when they go to your local news, which just amounts to the traffic and any recent deaths in your area, then they sometimes go to their local news radio station, cross-promoting.
Right.
I imagine they do it where up your end, just like they do it here.
Yeah.
And up pops Vanessa, and it's just really upsetting. Every morning I forget that she's coming, and I'm like, oh, blimey, there she is again. Mid-swallow she gets me.
She's by the TV, you don't want any more stress.
Yeah, that's right. I need to calm right down.
Yeah. And, yeah, that's all I've got, really, so...
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Your dislike of Vanessa too. Hey, do you want to play the game?
Oh, no, I'll lose.
Well, you're losing is... You'll be back where you were when you started.
Yeah.
Take a risk in life once in a while. I mean, if the downside is non-existent and the upside is actual cash, what have you got to lose? Nothing at all.
Go on then.
Are you the sort of person that really doesn't take any risks?
I don't like making an idiot of myself, and I undoubtedly will.
What do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm a student, aren't I?
A student, right. And what do you study?
Oh, no, not this again, media.
Hey, are you one of these students who's not going to get there? Are you a finals in your final year?
Yeah.
And are you worried that you're not going to get your exams marked?
Well, we don't do exams, we do, like, assignments. I know.
You don't do exams.
Well, it's BTEC, so it's like all hands-on kind of thing, so you get the equipment to play around with and stuff like that.
Doesn't do exams, and the work that she does, she describes as playing around.
Yeah, but you've got to get experience, don't you, with equipment? That's what it is.
So how do they mark you?
Well, you get, like, assignments to, like, little essays, and you've got to write, like, how you do things and stuff like that. And then the tutors will mark them and just send them off at the end of the year, and then you get your final grades back.
And what is it that you get at the end of this? What's it called?
It's like, it's a BTEC National Diploma. So it's like 3 passes is like the basics, 3 merits is middle, and a distinction is like an A level, like 3 A levels. So pass like 1, merits like 2 A levels. You know what I mean?
And does anybody ever fail?
No. As long as you do it, you get a pass. As long as you do everything. You have to go a bit more into debt though to like get a merit and distinction.
Don't you think that's incredible that it's impossible to fail? I mean, that's just awful.
Yeah, to be honest with you, though, it doesn't take much pains to do my course. I'll admit it now. And like a lot of people slog off like media courses and that, and I think rightfully so. But if you want experience, that's why I've done it. It's just to get some experience with equipment and stuff like that.
Now, have I gone through this with you, that the experience, I guess it's too late now. How long have you been doing this?
Well, this is my second year. This is my final year.
Second and final year, right. Okay, this is for everybody else who's thinking about doing media. Well, don't. Media or media study, you want to get into radio? The way to get into radio is to go and do it for free, i.e. to ask to be a work experience person.
Yeah.
Now, what work experience at a radio station usually means... do we have work experience people here, Lucy? Huh? What?
Sorry, I missed that bit.
Do we have work experience people here?
We do, yes.
Right. And what do they actually do? Fetch coffee,
They're very
clean
good
up?
at making tea and coffee.
Right, see? You just mill around and, smile a lot and hope that people like you so that you'll get a proper job.
Yeah.
And that will put you in much better stead than I would imagine studying media, which seems so vague. I mean, what is that? Like you sit and watch Coronation Street?
No, not really. Well, what we do is we go out and we film things, and we've got to edit things, so we get to use our equipment. It's got nothing to do with radio whatsoever, basically.
Right, good.
Which is what I want to do.
No, don't do it.
We've been through this before.
I know we have. And has anything I said made a slightest bit of difference?
You know what? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't, because it's weird. It's just there, if you know what I mean. So.
No, I don't. It's just there, if you know what I mean. No, you've totally lost me. Communication, not your strong point.
No, it's just something I've always wanted to do, like, ever since I've been a kid.
Right.
I can't describe it.
It's in you, and it has to come out. Well, that's mostly what people in radio are like. I was like that. I still am.
Oh, that's nice.
It's the only thing I ever wanted to do, apart from being a skiing instructor, and there's not much call for that down here.
Oh, that's nice to know. Anyway, I'll have to leave you alone now.
No, you want to play the game? Please play the game with me.
Oh, God.
The first one we got already.
Right.
Easy peasy, all right? It's like somebody's removed a large portion of that man's brain.
It's George Bush, isn't it?
It is George Bush. 1 down, 6 to go.
Right.
Now, the prize is anything you want. You understand that, don't you?
Right.
And I mean that, but conditions apply.
It's safe, so.
And the presenter's decision is final, and no communication will be entered into. Who's this?
Oh, my God, I don't know.
It's like being punched in the face, isn't it? No idea whatsoever. A loser, ladies and gentlemen, another unsatisfied customer.
The Vitruvian Man.
Upset with Ming Campbell. Crazy name, crazy guy. And I was watching as I was in my sick bed, I was watching Prime Minister's Question Time. And, right now, the reason they were very upset was he had one question, and he had to look at his notes because he forgot the last part of his question. And that's apparently a no-no in the Houses of Parliament. Why? Who knows? I mean, what difference does it make that you can remember what you're saying as long as what you're saying is important? The entire thing is absolutely ludicrous. And I wonder if they realise how childish... You know what? It's not childish. It's more like how exclusive they appear to the rest of us. It's not inclusive. They're not doing it for our benefit, and neither are they really doing it for their party's benefit. They're baying at each other just because it's fun, is basically what it is. They're all trying to score comic points off each other. It's a lot of noise signifying nothing. And the half hour goes by, and one side has tried to skewer the other and failed or succeeded and make the slightest bit of difference. And what's the point of it? Absolutely, it's as silly now as it was when they all had to stand up and ask what the Prime Minister was doing that day. And he had to bolt up and said, "Please I refer the Honourable Gentleman to the answer I gave some moments ago." And then he had to sit down, and then the other one would stand up and he'd ask them the question. Oh, it's just ridiculous. What a silly bunch of people they are. And they're upset with Ming Campbell as well because he's old. He's made the fatal mistake of a politician in this country and actually aged. You know, in other countries and other times, we used to revere our elders. In fact, it was our elders that we used to go for advice to. Now, we assume that if you're old, you are stupid and therefore not worthy of the job. And so only people who aren't barely fully formed are suitable to be running the country, which, when you think about it, is ridiculous. How can a man who has done almost nothing at all other than scored points off the opposition in debates be a suitable candidate to run the country, compared to a man who's lived a long and prosperous and intelligent life, and with all the experience that comes to bear with having done that? But no, we'd rather ditch the experience just for someone who doesn't have very many lines on their face. It's just, I don't get it. And it didn't used to be like that. And I think that that's gone through the whole of society. Old is a dirty word now. Anyway, I didn't have anything to do with what we're supposed to be talking about, which will be cleared up by this next caller, who's called Adrian.
Hello, Nick.
Adrian.
How are you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I just would like to say I'm glad that things have sorted themselves out for you, apparently.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But, it always amazes me, the things that you find on the internet these days. Yeah. I mean, like, you can hire people out parties and stuff after lookalikes.
You're cracking up, mate. Go to a window, or...
Oh, right, sorry.
Change your phone.
Yeah, just saying you could, like, hire people out for parties and stuff, like Rolf Harris or something like that.
You can hire Rolf Harris for your party? Well, I suppose you could if you had enough money. I wonder how much it costs. I wonder if it's more expensive to have him not show up.
Yeah, a didgeridoo, that's a bit of a better idea.
Just as long as he never shows up at Glastonbury again. That's just plain embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but he won't this year, will he?
Well, maybe this would be a good idea for him to show up.
Yeah.
A good year for Rolf Harris to show up at Glastonbury, yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, and they could bring Cliff Richard along with it.
Yeah, they could both entertain the cows.
Yeah. But, have you heard of a site called MyHeritage at all?
MyHeritage?
Yeah, you're supposed to scan your own pictures in it. It tells you who you look like, apparently.
What? You scan your picture and it tells you what you look like?
Well, what famous people you look like.
Right.
And because I have nothing better to do, I've done one for you.
Okay, that's great. Here we go.
Right, apparently you look 74% like Michael Owen.
Well, I'll take that. What's the other 26%?
I don't know, it just gives you a list, like it starts with 74 and it goes down to 70% is Wilbur Wright.
Who?
Wasn't he one of the first people that crossed the Atlantic in a plane or something?
Wilbur Wright.
Yeah.
Right, well, nobody knows what he looks like. Give us more famous people.
It gets worse.
Michael Owen, yes. Well, Michael Owen is, actually, I don't know, is he good looking? He's sort of plain. It's like, I suppose he is good looking, but he's just a bit... There's something about Michael Owen that's it's almost like white sliced bread. It's almost like a glass of water. You just look right through him, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lucy, does he float your boat? That's a shake of the head.
No.
But you don't dislike him. You don't find him repellent. He's just one of those people that it's like, well, you just don't mind, you know.
Like off the street, really.
Exactly, just like an ordinary bloke off the street who won't be helping us in, 4 weeks' time? When is it? Is it 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that? Oh, the flags are coming out in the cars now.
God, that's bad, ain't it?
I don't have... No, it's not bad. It's great. I love that. I don't have an aerial on my car. It's in the... it's stuck in the window. So where am I going to stick my flag? Don't answer that question.
But would you like to hear it get worse and worse?
Yes, go on then. Make a note of this. Michael Owen, very pleased so far. Go on. Brad Pitt, you're probably going to say next, right?
No, Andy McDowell.
What, the woman?
Yeah.
What? Andy McDowell? The woman.
Yeah, I mean, you always get, well, apparently when I did mine, I looked like Mother Teresa, so you got right.
Right. I think if it's just a contest between you and me so far,
I'm a loser, baby.
I'll stick with Andy McDowell, yeah.
Yeah, this is
Next.
Until you get bored, anyway. I don't know who the hell this one is. It's Claude Shannon.
Claude Shannon. No.
The idea is you'll have to Google that one if you...
Yeah, all right. Lucy is Googling it as we speak.
63% Jim Henson.
Jim Henson? What, the guy that invented the Muppets?
Muppets, yeah.
Well, he's got a beard. How can you tell what his face looks like? The man's looking at you behind a hedge. It's almost completely invisible.
And 62% Woody Harrelson.
All right, well, I'll take Woody Harrelson and Michael Owen, and can we disregard the three in the middle?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, cool. All right.
Can I just do one more? 'Cause this
Claude Elwood Shannon founded the subject of information theory, and he proposed a linear schematic model of a communications system. Oh, that guy. Yeah, oh, he's very good.
Yeah, that's somebody quite intelligent, so...
Well, he's a giant super brain, yeah.
And I'll just do one more, 'cause it's getting a bit dull now. Christina Aguilera.
Right. Well, we'll disregard that last one, if you don't mind. Thanks a lot, Ed. What's that site again?
It's www.my...
Always is, yes, what?
myheritage.com.
MyHeritage.
Yeah.
There's another £1 million idea we didn't come up with.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers.
Ta-ta. This is LBC 97.3. Are we taking a break now? Yes, no? No?
Not yet.
Not yet, you say. There's one in the Docklands. Jessica.
Hello, Nick.
Jessica.
The image that you've put in my head of what you look like now is just shocking. I mean, really.
It's quite a mixture, isn't it?
Woody Harrelson and Michael Owen. I mean,
none of the people on this list look anything like each other.
I think they're just random names at that point.
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
Sense.
Although I will take Michael Owen and Woody Harrelson.
No, that would be sinister, genuinely.
Christina Aguilera?
That would be scary. Michael Owen, there's something wrong with Michael Owen. I think it's his eyes or something. They're too close together and he just looks a bit robotic.
Yeah, he does look a bit robotic, yeah. He almost looks as though his brain has been taken out and replaced by something that should be powering an alien in Doctor Who. It's just like, it's a bit vacant back there. But then he's not paid to...
Exactly, I'm sure he's a nice bloke.
Yeah, he does seem like a nice... He's like one of these people that it's hard to object to.
I think he's boring, really, isn't he? He's just insignificant, apart from on the football pitch, obviously.
I think he's one of these people that... I think he's taken Alan Shearer's route, because Alan Shearer has almost never said anything of interest in his entire life, deliberately so. He will put a straight bat to any question that's bowled at him, so that his entire life... I mean, how many paparazzi pictures have you ever seen of Alan Shearer? I'll tell you.
That's because he chooses
None.
himself in a different way, doesn't he?
None at all.
But, I mean, maybe that's not because he's stupid, that's probably because he's quite clever.
Well, I'm not saying that it's stupid.
I don't think Michael Owen's doing it that way, because I think he looks a bit stupid. That's the other part of the problem.
I don't think that's right at all. I don't think he looks stupid. I think
he does.
I think he looks just a bit kind of...
vacant.
Well, it's almost like you can see him, you can look at him, but not see him. Like he's one of those people. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's nothing to object about.
Okay. There's nothing really to object about Vanessa Feltz.
Oh, are you joking?
Well, I mean, I don't like
Let's start a list.
I think that she comes across as desperate, which is always sort of a bad thing.
She's like a shrieking harridan. First thing in the morning, she's
had
just
her time, and she should
yelling at you.
No way, she should realise that she's had her time, but she won't let it go, will she? She's so desperate to stay a celebrity. And I don't think she's a stupid woman. I think she's quite educated.
Yeah, I think she's really smart. Yeah, it's just that I object to having her face pushed in mine first thing in the morning. It's just upsetting.
It's like Anthea Turner. It's a bit of an Anthea Turner syndrome there as well, you know?
Well, you know, what are they going to do?
I mean, realise they've had their time.
God, you'll wind up like an alarm clock, aren't you? What are they going to do, though? It's... You know, if you've been on television once, and that's your living, and you have you've got no plumbing skills to fall back on, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? I mean, the money is eventually going to dry up, isn't it? I mean, neither Anthea, well, I guess Anthea's actually rolling in it, isn't she? She married money, as well as having some in the first place. Vanessa, well, I don't know, maybe she's a billionaire-ess. Maybe she's a Tesco heiress. Who knows? Maybe she's close personal friends with Lady Shirley Porter. Is that Tesco? Is she Tesco money, Lady Shirley Porter?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, that's one of the reasons I go to Sainsbury's.
Gerrymandering or something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the guy she married. Gerrymandying. Yeah.
I don't know. I've no idea. But anyway, Vanessa Feltz should just realise that we don't need her sort of style of presenting, because she used to show us freaks. But now, you know, the freaks will just come along themselves. Like, we'll all be watching Big Brother next week, and why would we want to watch Vanessa Feltz when we can do that?
Why are you going to watch Big Brother?
Well, I mean, we will all watch it. I won't watch it madly.
I won't,
you
ever.
won't watch it, 'cause it's...
I won't watch it for a single second.
Oh, why not?
Why would you want to get involved in that programme? I don't get it.
No, you should do, because you're supposed to be a people person. You know, you should be kind of looking at people and how they react.
I'm supposed to be a people person.
Yeah, I mean, you don't just play music here, do you? So, you're interacting with people. You must be a people person to do that. And I quite like to watch those Big Brother things sometimes. It's interesting what people do.
No, it's not interesting. It's moronic.
No, it's not.
It is moronic.
It's not.
It's as interesting as watching people at the bus stop. Would you take your deck chair out and set it up and just watch people waiting for the bus?
Well, no, I wouldn't. But I think out of the Big Brother, there'll always be a couple of people that are just a little bit fascinating, even if only briefly. Don't you think?
No, I don't. Not one. Name me one person who's been fascinating of any of the series.
Well, you know what? I would actually say that. Yeah, you're probably right, but...
Name one, I'll make this really easy for you, Jessica. One.
Fascinating. There must have been one that was fascinating.
Well, you watch them, you tell me.
Well, I don't watch them religiously at all. But, who was fascinating? Well, in a way...
I rest my case.
No, actually, hold on a second. Chantel's quite fascinating.
See, now, I knew you were going to say something stupid like that. Chantel is flat out not fascinating.
It shows you what...
In the history of fascinating people, in that gigantic list, she's not on it.
No, she's not, but you know what? She will become, like, on a list at the end of the year or something. There will be some people that are voting Chantel as, like, Woman of the Year, and she will have got a lot of money in the bank, and perhaps she's not as stupid as she looks, and she's kind of like playing her little bit of fame for a little while. I mean, it's just a kind of normal thing now. It's like another job.
Right, but that's fine. That's fine. I neither want to read about her, nor see her, nor any of the other stupid people who are going to be on that show. At all, ever.
You don't have to, Nick. It's all right. Just don't watch.
I have to calm down again.
We'll be watching, and a lot of people will be calling you and talking about it. You know, it's a fact.
Well, that's true, I suppose. All I would have to do is to watch Big Brother every week, and that would be the show, wouldn't it? Yeah. The show would write itself.
Just read it in the papers. You don't even need to watch it. Just follow it in the papers, just to keep up to date.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'll do this as a sign. When does it start?
I think it starts it does start next Thursday.
Oh, I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but as a science experiment, I'll watch it, and then talk about it next weekend.
Well, I mean, I won't be listening next weekend, but, I mean, you should watch it. You should. Just give it a chance. It might be rubbish. It depends, doesn't it? It depends how to do it and who they get.
Right. Okay. Now, you won't be listening next weekend. Does that mean that you won't be calling?
Well, not really.
Great.
Because I only really kind of call when I'm listening.
Okay, well, it's a dream come true. You keep up the good work, Jessica. This is LBC 97.3.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a racing driver. Oh. Excuse me, I had a water problem. Right, we're going with Tallulah. She's parked, so why don't we? Hey, Tallulah.
I parked my car with you.
What?
Did you just say I parked, or what? What did you use the verb?
Parked. Are you parked?
Yeah, I parked. This, what's it called? Metaphorically, I parked my car with you now, so I can talk to you.
You metaphorically parked your car?
Yeah.
But not really?
Well, I parked my car next to your car, so I opened my window and I can talk to you now.
Well, as long as you don't scratch it.
No, I'm not. I'm going to.
So, metaphorically speaking,
yeah.
What's up, Tallulah?
Well, what's up? I can say I love the politicians and the way they hum, and what do they say? And all this comical stuff. I do love it. I do love it.
It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed on behalf of the British people that these are the dopes that are running us.
Okay, but let me tell you, I grew up in Germany, yeah, where there is in Parliament, it's like corpses talking. That's the way the German way is. And when I came to England, I couldn't believe my eyes, my ears, and I laughed myself silly. And now I say to you, as an outsider, being inside, don't stop the red buses, don't start the comical show at Parliament, and don't stop this and that, because that altogether makes the quality of London Britain.
Well, I couldn't have said it like that myself.
There we are.
No, I completely disagree, because the Prime Minister's Question Time, in fact, anything that happens in Parliament is almost entirely silly. You watch Prime Minister's Question Time, it's the place is absolutely stuffed to bursting. They're standing room only, literally.
Yeah, I know.
And any other time, there's no one there. Debates
empty seats, yes.
Debates in Parliament are usually made to an empty room. In the House of Lords, they're made. Anybody that's still there while somebody's speaking is still there only because they've fallen asleep.
I know. It's nearly as amusing as seeing the Full House.
But it's pointless.
Yeah,
I mean, it used to be twice a week for 15 minutes, wasn't it? And most of those 15 minutes were taken up with people asking the same question over and over again. Hey, Prime Minister, what you up to today? They would ask. And over again he would give them the same answer. Well, finally they ditched that. But they still have this, to me, it's so self-congratulatory.
But maybe it's just an excuse for them to say we go to the gym, because all they do all the time have to sit down and stand up, sit down and stand up.
It just reinforces to me the fact that it's the divide between the parties is probably in the House of Parliament, in that club, almost non-existent. They're all just mates having a good time, sucking the system dry for as much as they can get, and every week for half an hour they go and have a jolly good time. They probably go and have a few belts before they go in, because most of them sound drunk. I mean, the noise that they're making is the sound of like a rugby club, isn't it?
Well, they call it posh and we call it drunk.
Well, yeah, they do appear to be drunk to me, and they just bellow at each other at the slightest joke, because that's what it's all about. It's like, who can score points off the other? It's like being in the playground. It's pathetic.
But, the point is that let's say compared to Germany, yeah? The Germans would say, oh, nothing is really happening, and the English would say nothing is really happening, but at least there's fun in the House of Lords or the House of Parliament.
It's a house of fun. Well, that's not what we're paying them for. We're not paying them to have fun.
And every now and then something is happening, but at least it's more fun to have it here the way the British do it. I actually mean it. It's not a joke.
Okay. I like the Australian Parliament. There was the Australian Prime Minister was upset with one of his opposite number, and he said, that guy's so weak he probably steps out of the shower to take a pee." In Parliament. Well, that's Australia for you.
Yeah. Well.
So you're the woman with the budgie, right?
Yeah, he's sitting on my shoulder, being quiet in the moment because he can hear me speak. While she takes over.
You know what upsets me about those parrots is that it's the way their beaks seem to unhinge.
Are you talking now about parrots? I don't know about parrots, but I know about budgies.
Budgies, parrots, they're the same thing?
No, not.
Yeah.
No, they come from the same family, but a Cocker Spaniel is not the same as a poodle.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
Well, they smell the same.
Okay, let's talk about budgies. What do you want to know?
Why do their beaks unhinge like that? I find that really upsetting. It looks like they're broken.
Well, that's an upper part and a lower part.
Yeah, but the upper part of their beak looks like it's on a hinge. It just flips up, and every time it does it, you think, oh, it's broken its beak.
Yeah, but it's designed to open those little seats. And there's a little tongue in there. What looks
I know, I hate that too. Birds with tongues. It's
yeah, but
just,
not the parrot's tongue looks ugly, while the budgie's tongue is the most sexual thing of a budgie.
Oh no, I think we've strayed too far. The most what, sorry?
I'm in love with budgies, and the tongue is such a sweet thing of the budgie. It's unbelievable.
Tallulah, I just want you to be happy with your,
No,
pet.
I have a life. Don't you worry. Rock and roll, you know, and those things.
Right.
The budgie is just on the side. Don't you worry.
It's on the side. It's, with everything you say, this is just getting worse and worse.
No, I'm alive and kicking. That's all.
Right.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, okay. Hey, listen, Tallulah, you keep going on with yourself, all right?
Not with myself, but with everybody. Yes. That's
Yeah,
correct.
there you go. Thanks a lot, dear.
Talking to you. Bye.
Keep on keeping on. This is LBC 97.3. We're going to be back with an explanation as to what that last call was about.
Hi, I'm Anne Maurice, TV's House.
Let's go with one in the London borough of Aberdeen. Hello, Matthew. Matthew.
Yeah, I was just watching this show on Thursday. I'm wondering if you saw it. It was on BBC 4, so it's the first thing I've ever seen on that channel. It was a punctuation game show called Never Mind the Full Stops.
Of it, which was scathing.
Yeah.
Who's on it? Isn't it Ned Sherrin?
Ned Sherrin? I don't think. No. But,
Because there's something about Ned Sherrin that I just I find objectionable. He's just so superior and sniffy. I just...
the worst person on that show was Janet Street Porter.
Janet Street Porter. Does she still affect to speak like that? No one speaks like that, especially an educated woman who's been in the media all her life.
Just awful.
Oh, I mean, you know, get real, Janet. Damn it.
Yes, but at least Darren Aronovich, he was pretty good. Better in the Times, though. Better written than spoken, I think.
Darren
Yeah.
Darren Aronovich. Crazy name, yeah. No, but it's... right, another panel game. And this game was... What's the deal with the punctuation game? A game about punctuation?
Yeah. I think it tried to be Have I Got News for You, but kind of failed. It didn't do too well. But it was only his first time, so maybe it'll get better, I think.
Well, what's the nature of this game?
For one section, they have a passage, and they have to correct and put in punctuation.
You're kidding?
No. So there'll be a passage of written English, and there'll be apostrophes in the wrong place. They have to take them out. There'll be missing apostrophes. They have to put them in.
This is on television?
Yes, yeah.
This is worse than that Noel Edmonds show.
No, it's okay.
How can that possibly be okay? Are you describing this correctly? They have passages and they have to correct the pronunciation? It's like an English exam on TV.
Correct the grammar. That's just one section. There are about 5 or 6 rounds. But that was one part of it.
This is presumably because of the success of that punctuation book, which I never read.
Yeah.
I'll add it to the list of the books I've never read, called
Good
Eats,
book.
Shoots and Leaves.
Good book.
And I've never read it because I can't understand how a book about punctuation could possibly be interesting.
Because it's...
Sell it to me.
Makes fun of idiots who can't speak properly.
Right, well that would take a paragraph. She's got a whole book.
It's good. Trust me.
I started reading that Dan Brown thing, the thing that the Roman Catholic Church is very upset about. What's that called?
Code.
Yeah, the Da Vinci Code. Yeah, I got 50 pages in. I'll often give a book 50 pages and then make my mind up. And I thought, nah.
No, it's not so good.
Well, it didn't seem to be very well written.
If you're going to read a Dan Brown book, the first one, Angels and Demons, that's very good.
No, I think I'll give up on Dan Brown, if you don't mind. I'll wait to see the film, because the film will undoubtedly be better written. I mean, it couldn't be worse.
See it, but
and it'll only take 2 hours to get through.
Yeah, I didn't like the book, and I'm not going to see the film. I'm boycotting that film, just because the book was crap.
Right. Okay, well, that's a very strong stance, Matthew. You stand by what you believe in, all right?
Yes, I will.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, bye.
Ta-ta. This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. The number is 0870 90 90 973. And so far, I'm still alive. It's a miracle. You can hold off on calling 999 until I give you the signal. All right. So, that's the first time I've heard it pronounced like that. Mahmoud, to me, it's spelt I'm mad in the head. The president, or whatever he calls himself, of Iraq, says, oh, no, there's nothing to see here. Kindly move along. Here's a question. Why does a country that's basically a sand lilo floating on a sea of oil need nuclear energy? I mean, they've got all the oil in the world. They've got all the oil that Canada doesn't have. Why do they need nuclear energy? For what? Just a query. So, let's go with, Hampton. Hey, Chris.
Hey. Hi, Nick. How's it going?
All right, thanks.
Good. I just wanted to pick up on, what was it, Tallulah? He was talking about how great the British Parliament is. I think I have to agree with you on here. It is a bit of a joke, really, isn't it? Because, I mean, I worked in political broadcasting for a bit.
You did what?
I worked in political broadcasting.
What does that mean?
Well, I kind of worked at the Westminster studios of a major broadcaster. I'm not going to say which one.
Sky. The BBC, ITV, CNN, NBC.
I worked for the BBC.
You said which one?
I don't know. Okay, it's BBC. You got it out of me.
I prized it out of you. Yeah.
Yeah, but so I watched this. I watched Parliament pretty much every day. Commons, Lords. And it is a bit of a joke because it's like you everyone seems to think it's jam-packed to the rafters, and it is during PMQs, but all the other time it's just pretty much like it is the Lords in the Commons. It's very, very quiet and very, very dull, and it's all about procedure because we don't have a written constitution. It's all about kind of these archaic procedures from times in the past. And I was doing a bit of reading about it. I read the book by Jeremy. Which Jeremy is it? It's the one that presents Newsnight. Ooh, I can't remember his name.
Jeremy.
Oh, Paxman.
Yeah.
That's it. He wrote a book called The Political Animal. And there's a quote in there from when the House of Parliament were bombed during the air raids during World War II. And they were discussing about how can we rebuild Parliament. And Winston Churchill said something along the lines of, no, there's nothing we can do. We shouldn't change it. Well, we want the confrontation and the fighting and the jeering. That's the kind of confrontational nature of British democracy that we want to preserve. And you think, you nutter. It
seems to me that it's just all fun for them. This is why they like it, because it's just all a bit of a laugh.
Fun on £80,000 a year, isn't it? Plus expenses.
Oh, I think they're on considerably more than that.
No, I think basic was around.
Yeah, basic. Yeah, but I bet I'll bet you that amount that every single one of them has managed to get their hands on considerably more than that.
Oh, of course. Offices and help with housing for MPs from outside of London as well. So,
yeah, they all get housing allowances and allowances to the cars and secretaries who surprisingly turn out to be their wives, and and on and on and on it goes.
Of course, it's quite ironic that I was reading the Private Eye a couple of weeks ago about how the Speaker of the House employs his wife and hasn't actually been investigated on the code of conduct, because apparently there's a big hoo-ha about toy sleeves and MPs employing their wives and not going through the proper process. But now the Speaker of the House was caught out quite recently, and no one's actually said anything about it.
I think that we have to assume that they're all crooked.
Oh, of course they are.
I mean, that's just an assumption that I make. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a couple who aren't. But it seems to me like they're all crooked. And you know what? The reason is because they're human beings. Unfortunately, we can't get robots or computers to run us. It's down to humans. And if we were there, we'd probably be crooked too. Because the opportunities that come your way, how could you turn them down?
I don't think it's about being crooked. I mean, they've all got. If you look at what's called soft money, I mean, because of the whole loans crisis and everything like that, what companies and who seek to sponsor like Labour or Conservatives, they just like pay these huge amounts, like dinner receptions with the Prime Minister, or sponsoring huge amounts of money on fringe meetings at party conferences. It's kind of that kind of way of funding that we've managed to get from the United States, because that kind of soft money is rampant. So, I mean, if you look at like places like Scottish Parliament and the Scottish Socialist Party MSCs, I mean, whatever you think of them politically, yeah, they only take an average worker's wage, and the rest of their parliamentary wages, they don't claim any expenses, and anything over and above what they consider to be a livable salary goes back into the SSP. So I don't think it's so much about the kind of human beings, but I think it's kind of the nature of the institution, really.
Well, I think it's the nature of the people that end up as politicians. Why do you become a politician? In order to help people? I seriously doubt that. You become a politician because it's something that you've been doing ever since school. In school, you were the kind of nerd who joined the debating society.
There's nothing wrong with being in the debating society. I'm not a politician, thank you very much.
And you joined the debating society because you were a giant swat. And being a swat at school, bizarrely, seems to be a bad thing. Being intelligent is positively discouraged at school. And so these people formed a tight little clique. And the tighter the circle, the more that they could repel the sharks that would be out for them in the playground.
Well, it gives a new meaning to the word SWAT team, doesn't it? But
right. And so once you're in that mode, then you go to university and you do the same, and then you just become a politician. It's nothing that there's no calling to improve the lives of poor saps like you and me. It's just that's what they ended up doing.
Well, I think that's just the nature of kind of the centre ground of politics.
And no one that's successful in whatever other field it is that they have chooses then to become a politician. So, by definition, we just get a bunch of know-nothing losers.
Well, I don't think
bunch of amateurs who are running the country who don't know anything and have never done anything.
Well, Samuel Pepys once said that we're a country run by amateur gentlemen or something like that.
Yeah, well, you could knock the gentleman part off, and and these days he'd be absolutely right.
Well, I don't think it's so much about amateurs. I mean, if you think, the government whips hold a huge amount of power over people.
It is amateurs. How can one day you be head of health, and then the next day, after a reshuffle, you be head of transport?
Well, the real power doesn't really lie with the elected. I mean, the real power in the government department lies with the department secretaries and the civil servants, who kind of give a sense of continuity. That's why you can...
No, they just do what supposedly they do what they're told by their masters, and it's their masters who are supposed to come up with the giant ideas.
Well, the masters come up with giant with giant ideas, but it's the civil servants who control the purse strings. If you can't release the
right, but if they're just doing what they're told, then they're being told to do. They're being told to carry out their actions by amateurs who, by definition, don't really know what they're talking about. I mean, how can you be parachuted into running the NHS and then from the first day know what you're supposed to be doing, or even a year later know what you're supposed to be doing if you've never actually run a hospital? You can't. And so what we get is we're run by amateurs. Constantly. Everything in this country is run by amateurs. And then you look around and you start to understand why it's all going so terribly wrong. But anyway, Chris, this is way more serious than...
Sorry, have I just lowered the phone?
No, you've raised it. That's the problem. Thanks a lot, mate.
Sorry, all right.
Ta-ra.
Okay, bye-bye.
This is LBC 97.3. Let's go with a lady in London Colney. Where's that, Mandy?
You know where it is. I tell you every time.
Well, I remember nothing.
Short-term memory. I'm your soon-to-be ex-chatline operator.
Oh, it's like, Kent or somewhere, isn't it?
No.
Ipswich.
Just on, yeah.
Near Chelmsford?
No, it's just on the outside of London towards St Albans.
Oh, that was the next thing I was going to say, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Well, when I was listening to Carol last weekend on this station, and she said you had a bad heart, I got very upset.
Oh. Are you going to be all right?
No, are you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they can't find anything that's wrong with me.
But I found the fact that you thought Vanessa Phelps was sitting on your chest slightly worrying.
Yeah. Yes. Me too. That's what it felt like.
What, do you know how it feels?
I'm imagining.
Uh-huh. That's worrying, Nick.
So what have you been up to, Mandy?
I've been going on interviews.
For what?
PAs, administrators, normal jobs, normal people.
Right.
Yes.
Because in your manner of work, you don't actually get to meet people, do you?
No, I need to be within an environment of human beings.
Yeah.
Yes. My carpet got laid on Thursday.
Wow, it must have been happy.
Yeah. My flat's finished. And I've been watching lots of sport on television, and I watched the footy today.
Wasn't it fantastic?
Yeah, but
Could you even believe it?
You watched it on Fast Forward?
Yeah, I did, because I wasn't going to get here in time. And watching that game, of all games, on Fast Forward was painful, because...
How did you know when to stop it, when you saw a goal?
Well, yes. And the faster you go, the less you can keep up with what's going on. I mean, if you watch it at double speed...
Yeah.
Then you can more or less keep up.
Yeah.
But I didn't have time to watch it at double speed, so I had to watch it at 6 times and occasionally up to 30 times normal speed. And so eventually you just start looking at the score. And as soon as it clicks over, then you have to hit rewind just to see what happened, which kind of takes the fun out of it, really.
You didn't see the penalties on Fast Forward?
Yeah, no, I watched those slow.
What, normal?
Yeah, normal, yeah.
Yeah, I think the good game's going to be next Sunday, Watford Leeds. I really do.
Well...
Because they train in London, Colney. So I kind of support Watford. Although Arsenal train in London, Colney, and I don't like Arsenal, but... Because I think they poisoned my team last week. That's a whole other story.
What's happened about that?
Nothing.
Nothing at all, right? It wasn't the lasagna.
Well, they're saying no, but I've got a conspiracy theory about it.
Of course you do.
Well, of course I am a Spurs supporter. And 8 of our players were puking up and they couldn't play.
Yeah, but it's a virus, right?
Well, that's what they're saying. But how come 8 of them got it and 10 of them didn't get it? I don't know.
Over-enthusiastic celebrations in the changing rooms? No idea.
No, it was sad. Because it screwed up us going to Europe next year, didn't it?
Now, what's happened to Stevie G? Because he seemed to be in pain. Is he actually injured, or is it just cramp? Because if another one of the England team falls over, then I just think I'm going to give up.
That's a stunning team we're sending out, isn't it?
It's like the reserves.
Yeah, I think he had cramp. Because he was being rubbed, wasn't he? You're talking about Gerard, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought you were thinking of Kenny G, the singer.
Yeah, Kenny G didn't play much of a part.
No.
He came on late, but
Yeah.
Too late to actually make an impression on the match.
I think he had cramp. But I do worry about the England team. And I do believe truly that there should be a new rule that every Premiership team should only have 3 foreign players. And then we'll get an England team. You look at Chelsea, you look at Arsenal.
Well, Arsenal in particular, yeah. I mean, Chelsea do
Sol
field...
Campbell, that's it.
Do field a lot of English players, which is very generous of them, really, considering that they could afford anyone they like.
Who?
Chelsea.
They haven't got any. John Terry and Frank Lampard. 2. Yeah.
Joe Cole. I mean, there's no end of English players in Chelsea.
But they don't play them, do they? Or do they?
Sure.
Who do you support?
You seem very certain, and then you state things as fact, and then you start backtracking immediately.
Because my brain works sort of not quite in tune with my mouth.
Runs away with you, and then you have to haul it back in to check.
Well, I'm in bed and kind of falling asleep.
Your brain is almost like when you're typing like an email, and then you have to spell check it afterwards. Sort of like that with you.
Yeah. Well, okay, who in Arsenal? We've got Sol Campbell.
Well, no, Arsenal, yeah, exactly.
Who do you support?
Well, I don't really support anybody. I usually support the underdog.
Yeah.
Whoever that might be.
I normally do, but I refused to support West Ham today because of what happened the other night.
Right.
But are you going to support Arsenal when they play Barcelona?
Of course.
Yeah, see, I can't bring myself to do that.
Oh, go on, Mandy, force yourself.
Do you think so?
Think about it. Will you do that for me?
What would I get in return?
Well, the pleasure of joining in.
Well, Barcelona played Sevilla, whatever they're called, tonight, and they got hammered. They got mullered.
Does everything have to sound sexual with you? What will I get in return?
Yeah.
She said, letting it hang there.
That's where your mind's working.
No, it's not.
It is.
You are a very dirty woman, Mandy.
Oh, don't say that. You always tell me how wonderful my voice sounds and how I flirt with you, so I'm flirting.
No, I never said I never said anything about the flirting part. I said how great your voice is because you have. You should go on the radio with this. Oh, you are already.
Yes, I am talking to you. You are on the radio, aren't you? I haven't rung you at home or anything horrible about that, have I?
No, but hang on there, and I will give you my home number. So the biggest investigation of supermarkets and their impact on Britain's ailing high streets has been launched. This was in the paper this week. In a major victory for the Evening Standard's Save Our Small Shops campaign, there's nothing that papers like more than campaigns. They normally come to nothing at all, but it gives them something to write about, particularly in the summer when there's nothing else to write about. I mean, Big Brother hasn't started yet, so there can't be acres of columnar inches about Big Brother, either, what this year's version of Chantel is doing, or, conversely, how awful it all is and we shouldn't be watching it. It'll be one of the two, and they can just fill page after page ad nauseum with this stuff. But before it starts, they've got nothing to write about because, lately, not much. So, in a slow news period, they'll start up a campaign, but probably with the knowledge that it won't make a difference, but it's just something to write about and something to, get talked about. And this is their thing right now. But it doesn't have the slightest difference. And the reason it won't have the slightest difference is the fault lies with us. In a major victory for the Evening Standard's Save Our Small Shops campaign, a watchdog has agreed to an inquiry into claims that the big four store chains abuse their power to kill off small independents. The quartet, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda and William Morrison, could face tough penalties, such as having to sell off stores if they're found to be at fault. The decision comes after more than 3 months of consultation by the Office of Fair Trading. Has the Office of Fair Trading actually criticised anybody at all in its entire history? Have they ever done it? Has the Monopolies and Mergers Commission ever taken action against a perceived monopoly? Ever? Can anybody remember them doing anything at all about any perceived monopoly? Vicky Hurd of Friends of the Earth said the original request for a market review was made as long ago as November 2004. At last, the OFT has come to its senses, she says. It is essential that the Commission addresses the whole range of concerns, from farmers' incomes to choice on the high street and the Tesco land bank. And I'll tell you what will happen after they conduct their inquiry, which will probably cost us millions upon millions of pounds and take forever. Absolutely nothing at all will happen. I guarantee it. And it's all our fault. You might as well have a campaign against their readers. The reason that these big four supermarkets have taken over and that there aren't any small shops left, you try and find yourself a fishmonger's, for instance. I bet that you could count the amount of fishmongers in London on the fingers of one hand. There aren't any. I can't think of a single one. I used to live north of the river, and now I live somewhere totally different. And in neither location can I think of a fishmonger that's even within 5 miles of where I live. And that's just one small example. And it's our fault, the reason that we don't go into small shops, because small shops, like farmers' shops, have fruit that doesn't look perfect. and isn't waxed, and they have actual knobbly bits. You remember as a child you used to pick apples off you used to crawl under the fence into the orchard next door, or I guess it wasn't an orchard, it was just a large garden with an apple tree, and scrump apples. You used to pick them off the tree, or if you were really you hadn't learnt your lesson yet, you'd pick them off the ground. And they weren't perfect. They looked like they had something wrong with them. They had, like, you know, sort of grey bits on them, and they weren't perfectly round. And we won't buy them. You pick up a bag in the supermarket, and you'll just check through them, and if there's one that's got a blemish on it, you won't have it. Similarly, food out of season. We want all food out of season all the time. And the only way we can get that is to fly over from New Zealand. You try and buy an apple now, and you'll pick up a bag and you'll put it in your trolley and you'll take it home, and you'll look at the label afterwards and you'll find that it comes from Australia. Like, it couldn't come from further away unless it was actually from space. But we insist on having them. Same with, summer salad things in the winter. We can't do without. We absolutely flat out refuse to eat seasonally. And we want the cheapest of everything. And we insist upon it. No wonder farmers are constantly complaining that the supermarkets that are buying all of their products are pushing them down into the ground. It's our fault. Because we insist that we want things that cost virtually nothing at all. The cost of the products should be equal to the cost of making them. In other words, negating any profit that might be, accrued to the farmer. Milk. I don't think they make any money at all on milk, do they? It's like a penny a gallon or something ridiculous like that. So we want food out of season, we want everything to be utterly perfect and shrink-wrapped and on a tray and, almost as though it never had seen nature. We want to park for free at the shop, and we want to do all of the weekly shop in one go, which you can't do in a small shop. You have to go from one shop, then you cross the road and go to from the bakers to the butchers, and then the candlestick makers. How many candlestick makers are in your local high street now? I bet there isn't a single one. Awful. Been driven out of business, they have, by Tesco's. It's their fault. It's not. It's our fault. We've done it. These supermarkets are a reflection of us. Tesco's has not made 2.2. Imagine this. How much profit do you think they made last year? That's right. 2.2 billion. Not million. Billion pounds. And they didn't make that by giving people things that they didn't want. They did that by catering to people's needs and desires and wants so precisely that you couldn't put a Rizzler between them. So it's down to us. This Save Our Small Shops campaign will amount to nothing. I promise you. The Standard is wasting its time. It's just filling in space. They've got all these gigantic spaces in their newspaper that they haven't managed to sell ads for. And, like I said, Big Brother hasn't started yet. And there's no, there was a little football fight story. I'll get to that after the news in a minute. But, they haven't been able to follow footballers into bars and give us awful stories about them getting drunk just before the big matches. So it's a bit of a slump for them at the moment. And so this is what they're filling it with, and it will amount to nothing. And the reason is it's our fault. We did it. Anyway, support your local sheriff. I think that's what that's how the old phrase went. This is LBC 97.3.
Right.
It does seem to be pretty weak to want to dump your leader. I mean, they've only just assigned him the job to want to dump your leader, the Lib Dems, just because he floundered a bit in Prime Minister's questions. I mean, whether you succeed or not in Prime Minister's questions, which is just scoring cheap points off each other as though you were in a playground, it has almost no effect on your ability to run your party at all. It's irrelevant. To score in Prime Minister's questions, is just to have the gift of the gab. It's just to come up, is to have your script writers come up with a couple of jokes, because they all know what they're going to say. I mean, hardly any of it's off the cuff, is it? I mean, you think the Prime Minister keeps all these figures in his head? He's got them all written down, he knows what questions are going to be asked. And so because Ming Campbell fluffed one line, like he had a question, all right, you should have remembered it, but it was the heat of the moment. Like, what was it, Jefferson Starship? Heat of the moment? Let's play that one right now. Haven't got that one? Can't put your finger on it? Because he had to look at his notes for the third part of his question, and they want to dump him for that. They want to dump him because he's old. They made a big mistake. They thought, oh, blimey, we've got someone who's made the mistake of actually growing old. Didn't they realise that when they voted him in? and the Conservative Party are having a resurgence because they've got someone who looks young. And that's it. Because, as my dad keeps ranting at me, he hasn't actually said anything yet. And I keep explaining to him, well, that's why he's so successful so far, is because he hasn't said anything yet. How to turn people off is to start giving policy out, because it gives them something to disagree with. If you say nothing, then people can't disagree with you, right? I mean, Tony Blair's success is not really because of the Labour manifesto, which no one has read. It's because he goes on Richard and Judy, throws a lot of smiles around, drops his H, and puts glottal stops in, and just seems like he's a man of the people. And that's why people vote for him, because he seems like a nice guy. People don't vote anymore for policy. They just don't. They vote for, oh, he's nice. That's it. And this guy that the Conservative Party have found for themselves, he just seems like a nice person, right? So that's why he's ahead in the polls right now. Because he's nice-looking, kind of like Michael Owen, a bit bland to look at. He's like one of these people that you'd pass him by on the street, wouldn't even know who he is, right? You could be looking at him and not see him. So he's bland, inoffensive. Rides a bike. You can't really object to that unless you're Jeremy Clarkson. And he hasn't said anything yet. Nothing to object to. Hugely successful. Tony Blair, on the other hand, keeps saying things. That's his big mistake. You want to stop saying stuff, mate. Let's go with this one in Leeds. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Nick. I get the feeling stop saying stuff, mate, is aimed at me, and I haven't even said anything yet.
Oh, get on with it.
I wanted to talk about the My Heritage site that Ed was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
I found it about, it's going on about 9 months ago now, and I just wanted to try and explain the way it works as to why you got likened to these people.
Yeah. Just in case you've come in late, somebody put my face through a thing called myheritage.com, which then matches your face to famous people. And it gave an intriguing list. My face apparently looks like the following people. Michael Owen, which I was pleased about. I thought, wow, we've really got something here. Who's the next one? Brad Pitt? No. Andy McDowell, the woman. Then Claude Shannon. Who's Claude Shannon? Not, he's not the leader of the band Shannon, is he? Or was that Sha Na Na? Shannon. Oh no, Shannon was a disco act. Let the music play. That's right. Oh, memories, what memories, eh?
But anyway...
And then Jim Henson, the guy with the beard, which I don't understand at all, Woody Harrelson, and, worst of all, Christina Aguilera. Now,
anyway...
back to you.
Right, the way it works is, for a start, it's got, I think, around 20,000 different celebrities or people that have been famous in their time on their database. And each celebrity have two different images of them. And it scans your facial structure, your nose and your eyes, but also it can come down to something as simple as whether you're looking left or right with your head. So you could submit 2 images of the same person, it will come up with different results. If you put 2 images of yourself on there, it would scan the first one and give you one set of results, and then scan another and give you another set, just because of the way your head was turned.
Are you telling me that this site is not completely accurate?
No, I'm just trying to explain how it works. I got Orlando Bloom, and I mean, Jesus.
Well, that's great. Orlando Bloom. I'd rather have Orlando Bloom than Christina Aguilagalag.
Yeah, it's great until you tell everyone and they say, what the hell is this site on? Everyone's, like, disagreeing and telling you how bad you actually look.
Oh, right, you're a minger.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Right. Well, know thyself. That's excellent.
Well, yeah,
well
you've
done,
got to
mate.
be honest with yourself.
Sure.
I was going to talk to you about the Da Vinci Code, but someone beat me to it just as I was phoning up. So I actually wanted to congratulate you on something.
What's that?
I'm not sure if you remember, because I know your memory doesn't exactly work that well.
Not well, no.
But I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago now, a lass called Lindsay, also from Leeds, phoned up, and you were talking about internet relationships, and you actually gave her advice. I don't know if you remember that. She was basically spending too much time online. And you
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was my partner, believe it or not, and she has taken your advice.
And what was my advice?
To turn the computer off or just not go on as much.
Right.
Talking to all these men. Is that clicking now? Do you remember?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, the thing with the computer is that it's a very addictive thing. You sit down at your computer for half an hour. 6 hours later, you look at the clock.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But she's, she hardly ever takes anyone's advice, but she's actually listened to you.
Wow, the power of this show.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
And how's her life working out now?
Well, we're getting on better, so I'm guessing...
There you are, you see. Because she was ignoring you to spend a lot of time online talking to people that she doesn't know, right? On one of these friends sites, yes?
Well, I don't want to... It was an internet server. I don't particularly want to name it, because
Right.
a lot of people use it, but...
Was it AOL?
It was, actually. Is the correct answer. Yeah, she's... we actually met on that, believe it or not, but, like... Well, you know that anyway, she told you before, but...
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we met on it, and then I basically go on the net for 2 hours a day just to check junk and read email and play a few games of internet pool or poker, and then used to hand over to her, and she'd
Do
be
you
on
play
it.
internet poker?
Yeah.
I'm suspicious of that, because they're not actual cards. It's the company that's dealing these card facsimiles to you is the one that would be giving you their money if they dealt you good cards.
Well, I'm guessing...
Aren't there warning bells ringing in your mind?
Well, it uses... I mean, they say they use random number generators and,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they
cards
do.
and everything, and, the amount of money that online poker drags in, I'm guessing they can't risk being caught out for cheating in any way, shape.
No, I'm sure it's all above board. However, even knowing that it's all above board, I still don't want to do it, because I just think, I mean, if I lost everything, I would be suspicious.
You do find yourself cursing it from time to time, thinking, what are the chances of that happening?
Right.
I mean, this is, like, only once, I don't know if you understand the ranks of poker, so I won't go into too much, but I was in one hand, and I had a hand that could only be beaten by one other possible hand.
What, a royal flush?
Well, a straight flush or real same thing, but yeah, I had 4 of a kind, and I thought, brilliant, I'm going to make a lot of money here, and then,
Yeah.
The git that was going against me turns over his cards, and I lost quite a bit, and I thought, what are the chances?
Now, are you playing an actual person or the machine?
No, well, I usually play things called sit and goes, which is 10 different people that are on their computers all sat around one table, and it works as elimination. The top 3 get money, and the rest of the 7 get nothing.
And how much does this cost?
Well, it depends. You can actually enter a game for... It's done in dollars, so your pounds, when you put money into it, your pounds get... they get turned into dollars, so, the equal amount. So the cheapest one is $1, and then there are also games where people enter for $1,000 at a time.
Isn't it fantastic that the things that we are told are sins are actually the things that we pursue most feverishly? What has promoted the internet into being part of everyone's life right now? Sex. And now, gambling.
Well, yeah, but you can't really fault it for that, can you?
I mean, has religion forwarded the course of the internet? Are people buying computers and online broadband connections in order to pursue their religious beliefs?
No,
No, but it
not
comes in
really. No. Sex is what they're pursuing, and now gambling.
It comes in handy if you understand a religion, though. I mean, I didn't know too much about the Mormons or Scientology, for instance, but I know a lot of people that have always preached to me about this religion or that religion, so it's interesting to actually be able to shoot back facts at them that they don't actually know themselves.
So you've read up about Scientology?
Well, we were talking about this before, what with South Park and what their take on it was and everything, so I decided to look a bit into it, and I've found a few sites by people that used to be in Scientology, and basically they're saying how difficult it is to get out of a cult or a brainwashing society.
Well, no, it's just the actual beliefs. But then if you break down all religious beliefs, they are illogical. Let's just put it that way, shall we? They're illogical, aren't they?
Well,
I mean, Scientologists say it's something like an alien from outer space sent beings to Earth and dropped them in a volcano, and the spirits went up to the spaceship where they were then redistributed to human beings. That's more or less it, right? And that seems...
That's the slant that South Park put on it. It's obviously a bit more... Not as far-fetched. Well, it probably is as far-fetched as that.
I thought that's exactly what it is.
Well, all I know is that they tell you that there's loads of meanings to life and everything, but they can't really tell you anything until you give them money, and then they can do the test, and you've got to pay them more money for them to help you understand your...
Yeah, I know. I went through that. Yeah, I did a personality test with those people up Tottenham Court Road. Have they still got a shop?
I have no idea.
And the result was, surprisingly, that I was of a personality type that needed to buy one of their courses.
Just like down in South Park. He's depressed and he didn't even know it.
Right. But you know, belief set seems illogical. But then if you think about all of them, they're all illogical.
Yeah.
That's the nature of belief, isn't it?
Exactly.
And I believe we'll leave it right there. Thanks a lot, Phil.
Bye, mate.
Ta-ra, this is LBC 97.3.
Hi, I'm Gary
Christopher.
Hello.
Christopher.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Have you read this book called Flanimals?
No.
No, it's a really funny book about, like, these animals, but not animals, they're monsters.
By Ricky Gervais.
No.
No, it is by Ricky Gervais, isn't it? Flanimals?
I don't know.
What a great call. Hey, have you read this book? It's one of my favourites. It's fantastic. I bought 3 copies. Who's it by? Brilliant. Let's go with Finsbury Park. Kerry.
Hello there.
Kerry.
Have you got that last guy's number? Is he single, do you reckon?
He seemed like he was about 5.
I don't know. He might have been an adult, but, you know, men.
No.
Anyway, I didn't want to talk about that. I've been trying to stop myself from phoning LBC, but I've become addicted.
Uh-huh.
And last time I did that, an old friend actually sent me an email, and I didn't realise she works at LBC now. And she said, "Was that you? Because you sounded like a nutter." But it was just what you were talking about earlier on. I felt compelled to call in about Ming Campbell and also food out of season. I think they're exactly the same. You know, people want food out of season, and it's exactly like the fake politicians, which people are urging Ming Campbell to be. Just nice looking, but with no substance at all, and poisonous. You know, all pesticides and spin doctors. It's all the same kind of thing. And I think, as well as having a Save Our Local Shops campaign, I think we should have Save Ming Campbell as well, because we actually want someone like him who just says things as they come to him. Because that's like, it seems like a foreign concept to anyone in government now, because they're all so slick. They can just style anything out, and I hate that. Because I reckon the more able they are to talk around subjects, like some wretched barrister, then the more able they are to obfuscate the real issues, and that's not what you want at all.
Which is exactly what Prime Minister's questions. No matter what question is put to the Prime Minister, he never, ever answers it. He always turns it around and bats it right back and goes for a cheap laugh, and then they have to ask him... And he knows that all he's got to do is just hang on for 30 minutes and not answer any questions,
and try and get a guffaw every now and again, and that's considered a huge success.
Yeah.
But it's true that the most popular of almost everything is usually the blandest of its type.
Yeah, and it annoys me that the public are now angry with Ming Campbell, presumably.
No, I don't think the public could care one way or the other, really. It's his party that are angry because he had to look at his notes when he asked a question.
Well, didn't people get angry with William Hague for being bald or something? You know, he's never going to be leader like that. And they just want him to be Max Headroom or something. But I reckon...
Wow, that's a walk down memory lane. Max Headroom...
Well, see, you know, people want a freakish celebrity in power, like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, and I hope we don't go down the route of America and get somebody who's been accused of assaulting women to become... Or just give it to Will Young. He's done everything else so far. He'd be good, I reckon.
He's done everything else so far?
Well, didn't he win some competition saying he was the most popular man to walk the earth or something, despite the fact he's only been here?
Will Young?
Yeah, he won some competition, and
well, Pop Idol.
No, not that. No, it was it was lately. He was like the best musician in Britain or something.
Oh, come on!
I know, but I think this is the general public today. There's no substance to anything at all.
Well, there's my point. Perfectly described. The most popular of almost everything is usually the blandest of its type, and he is nothing if not bland. What's the most popular type of bread? White sliced. Most popular pop music? Bland.
Well, inoffensive.
It's something that you don't like a lot, but it's hard to object to. I mean, nobody thinks, oh, white sliced bread, yummy. But it's just something that you don't mind. You know, you don't hate it. And so it becomes the most popular of its type. Same with pop music, same with politicians, same with anything. Anything that's popular is usually incredibly bland.
No, but I wonder somehow if something is offensive, maybe the way it's advertised just makes people accept it, because there are some ridiculous things going on. Like, you know, we're always talking about bringing democracy to the Middle East, and yet we've got the House of Lords, and who the hell voted them in, you know? And people say, I say I'm not going to vote, and people get annoyed with me because they, like, you know, women had to fight for the vote. My mother would have your guts for garters and all that. I just think we'd be better off out of it, not listening to anything we're told, and just staying indoors in a darkened room.
Well, and starting up a commune and being hippies. Yeah. No, if this is the only system we've got, then you have to work with the system.
But
ignoring the system just lets everybody else run your life for you.
Yeah, that's true. But the people in power are always complete freaks. I mean, I might be a hippie, but everyone who's a politician is involved in sex scandals. I mean, that's a bit of a generalisation, but they always seem to just want the power.
Yes, of course.
Not the real issue. So anyone that goes into politics, by definition, must be not interested in politics.
Anybody who wants to run the country should, by definition, not be allowed to run the country. Because, as I've said many times, the people who are running the country, not just now, always, and not just this country, every country, the people who are running the country are not running the country for the benefit of the people. The people who are running the country for the benefit of the people who are running the country.
And it's like managers in the workplace. They can only manage managers. They can't manage real people because they're out of touch.
And unfortunately, like in every other pursuit, you get promoted to your level of inability.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're good at a job, and so you get promoted. And then you're good at that job, and you get promoted.
Oh, I thought it was because you were bad at the ground level job, but they couldn't fire you, so they think, you know, get them out of harm's way, move them up the ladder. That's what it seems to be.
And then you move up and up and up until the point at which you can't do your job very well, and then you don't get promoted anymore. And that's the job that you end up doing, the one that you can't do very well.
I know.
Great!
There's a religion, I don't know exactly what the thing is, but Baha'ism or something, where they don't go in for politics, but they do have a system of their own. I don't know what it is exactly, someone else might know, but you can't campaign or anything. People just elect you, and nobody sort of says, I want to be a politician. And that, to me, seems like the best way, because I don't know, maybe you could do some sly campaigning.
Well, here's a thought. How about this? How about it's like a jury system? I mean, if politicians are actually there to enact the will of the people, then how about cutting out the middlemen and just getting the people? Having a focus group, basically. 2,000 people selected for how they correspond to the society's makeup, and having them vote on every little thing. And whatever the majority of the 2,000 people is, that's what the law will be. And so we don't actually need the politicians at all. We just need 2,000 people who are selected at random. And, for a 6-month period, you get to skip work. We could afford to pay whatever it is that you would be earning at work, because we wouldn't have to pay the politicians anymore, and the politicians' wives, and the politicians' wives' hairdressers, and on and on and on it goes. And you would actually get actual representation. How good does that sound?
Well, I don't know, because I don't trust the general public. Whenever they're put in charge of something, like you were saying about the internet,
they screw it up. Yeah.
It goes down
the
to
masses are asses.
I know, it goes down to our basic needs. I've noticed, as well as sex being the main thing on the internet, on TV it's all home makeover shows and cooking. So that's shelter, food and sex. I mean, we're just primates if we only think about that. And yet that is exactly what the media is like. So I think that your idea would work if you could take these people, remove them from society, and, maybe use an island somewhere, and, sort of sterilize them, get rid of all the cultural residue, and then let them vote when they were sensible.
Primates.
Yeah.
Kerry, can I interest you in a banana?
Okay, if you now...
Right, onwards. Uxbridge. Robert.
Hello.
Robert.
How are you? I've just come from a glamorous, glitzy evening of award ceremonies.
Oh, yeah? What was that, then?
There was it's the University Society Awards. At all societies, universities, where people join to have sex with each other, go to see who's the best ones. And my society came top, swept the boards. Thank you.
What society is that?
It's Extreme Radio, 1431 AM. My radio station.
Oh, you mean like socks? SOCS.
What's that?
A uni-sock.
Societies we call them now.
Right.
So,
So they would be chess players and...
Yeah, well, yeah. But I think those kind of things are gone. It's like RAG, which I think is a traditional society in every university, where they raise and give, or pretend to. And
Rag Society. Well, the Rag Society is just drinking, right? That's what that is.
Well, it seems to be all the men like to dress as women, all the women like to dress as men. It's a bizarre little society to go.
So it's like a drunken Two Ronnies sketch.
Two Ronnies sketch. Yes, they all go around with the washboards and things. Yes, well, I've never joined. I joined RAG this year, but I can't be bothered with them. Bunch of idiots trying to position themselves to become sabbatical and stay on university for a few more years.
I mean, once you've tied your legs next to 6 other people and have gone on a pub crawl, they haven't got anything else. That's it.
That's it. They have pinkathons now. That's quite popular.
A what now?
Pinkathons. I think it's for breast cancer. They always come in pink bras and stuff. So, and they have Rocky Horror Nights and Austin Powers Nights, and, yeah.
Actually, it sounds great. How can you join?
I'm a student again, Nick.
You're a student again, yeah, no thanks.
No. Oh, no, your life's too easy, isn't it?
No, I don't think I want to be, it's the pressure that I can't stand.
It depends on the degree you do. I did politics. I'm about to graduate. 6 hours a week.
Well, I did psychology. I think I did like 2 hours a week.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, but you in your time, you had it was all relied on exams at the end, didn't it?
Yes. Well, coursework and then exams. You do exams?
Well, this year I don't. I have to do as each semester I have to do 3 5,000-word essays and reports. But I normally would have exams. But
right, and here's how a modern student does a 5,000-word essay. They Google it and then use the copy and paste function.
You can't do that because they're very clever now with plagiarism. And a lot of people have been caught up and thrown out of university.
Right.
So it has to be very original. But of course, all these lecturers are on strike now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Are your lecturers on strike?
Mine are refusing to mark out coursework.
Don't you think that's incredible? Well, because they're not satisfied, because they want a 25% pay rise.
What's incredible is, out of a department, say, of like 12, only one person will be on strike. So I think it's a bit of a myth, but because one's on strike, they can't be bothered, none of us will do it. So, all put our feet up. But they still come to work every day, they just don't do anything. That's not listening.
And how can you tell the difference? So they're on strike, but they're at work. But they're just not doing anything. They refuse to put on their glasses. Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
Is it news time?
I think it sounds like it, yeah.
Well, let me just say, my last 2 Robbie show next Saturday. Give us a call, Nick.
All right, no chance.
Yes, you will.
But thanks anyway.
Bye-bye.
This is LBC 97.3. I can't believe that they're doing this again. London councils were branded killjoys for preventing more restaurants setting out tables and chairs in front of their premises. It seems to me that a couple of years ago, about 10 years ago, not too long past, nobody did this at all. Nobody set out tables outside in this country. It was an unknown phenomenon, eating outside, because it doesn't seem like we ever had any good weather. Do you remember? Well, we had a couple of fantastic summers, but previous to that, we never saw the sun, ever, in this country. Everybody was walking around with the pallid. Oh, you can turn the music up. Like, way up. Louder. There you go. All right. And then when the weather seemed to change, almost like overnight, and suddenly people started putting their tables out. And then the council thought, oh, hang on a minute, there's people enjoying themselves here, we'll put a stop to that. And they had lorries go up and down, confiscating their tables, which seems weak, doesn't it, really? The rule, apparently, is that there has to be 6 feet between the edge of the curb and your table, which rules out sitting outside on the pavement anywhere, really, because what pavement is 6 foot wide plus the width of a table? There aren't any. But you don't need 6 foot on most pavements to get by. I mean, how fat would you have to be to need 6? Not even Vanessa Feltz needs 6 feet to get by a table on a pavement. And so they were going around. The Westminster Council were confiscated. What they were doing with all these tables and chairs, we've got no idea. Nailing them together and calling it modern art. The Restaurant Association said despite customers' love of al fresco eating, there were never enough pavement tables to accommodate them because of licensing restrictions. Only about 250 restaurants and bars have licences for tables on public pavements in Westminster. That's a lot. 250 in Westminster. In Kensington and Chelsea there are 60, which is minute. While other boroughs have fewer still. Restaurants face fines of up to £1,000 if they break the terms of their licences. It's always with the fines with this government, isn't it? Everything you get fined for. It just seems like... Stop fining us.
What about along the river?
Huh?
What about along the river? Do you still have to have the wide gap?
Well, there aren't many places that you can sit out along the river, are there?
Well, I'm quite near Chiswick, and there's a nice bit along the Strand.
Get you.
I'm not actually in Chiswick.
Now, what does that mean? That sounds like something an estate agent would say. I'm quite near Chiswick.
Sounds like a good selling point, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, Hounslow, is it?
Chiswick's just down the road. I'm in the borough of Hounslow, but I'm in Brentford.
Right.
Yeah. It's near enough.
Is it?
It's quite near. I can walk to Chiswick.
Okay. But anyway, you were saying?
Well, it's just nice to sit along there, and there's lots of pubs along Strand on the Green where you can sit out there, and there's a really small gap. So maybe it only applies if it's, I don't know, in a high street or... I don't know. Does it say?
Well, so there's a pavement by the river?
Yeah. It's like a towpath all along the river.
Right.
And then all the pubs, you can just sit out, and they have little chairs and tables.
Huh. That sounds nice.
Yeah, it's really civilised.
Almost like not being in England.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yes, well, they better watch themselves because they face fines, of course, of up to £1,000 if they break the terms of their licences. Councils claim outdoor tables could be a hazard or encourage rowdiness. Rowdiness. Like, almost the complete opposite is the case. If you're sitting down and having a drink, you're almost certain not to be rowdy compared to standing up and having a drink, right? I mean, how much rowdiness do you get in a restaurant compared to a pub? None, because they're all sitting down. If a fight's going off and two people are sitting down, what happens? They stand up, right? That's the aggressive pose, standing up. So you already feel aggressive when you're standing. When you're sitting down, you're in a passive state. So just the act of sitting makes you passive. I mean, look at me.
Sit down.
Mr. Gottlieb, Mike Gottlieb, told the Evening Standard that, who is he? Mr. Gottlieb. Oh, Managing Director of Christopher's Group of Restaurants. Are they still going? Said, people see how easy it is in New York, Paris and Rome, where it's not just an issue. I don't know why it is here. It's all about miserable councils who want to take the joy out of life. Some of them seem to just... That's what they do. With their fines for parking and their fines for sitting out and enjoying the sun and their... Oh, it never ends. Mr. Gottlieb... I don't know, there's just something funny about that name, isn't there? It's like something Woody Allen would have in a sketch. Mr. Gottlieb claimed the obstruction argument was an excuse. There's just a killjoy attitude, he said. Of course, if a restaurant's blocking wheelchairs, then that's wrong. But often that's not the issue. There are planning regulations in Paris, too. But when the good weather comes, they just put all the tables and chairs outside. Does anyone try to make trouble about that? No, they don't. People are having fun. Why would anyone want to stop it? Well, let's count the ways. Diners at Café Bohème in Old Compton Street in Soho agreed. Luke Southern, a brand manager from Dulwich, said, there are a lot of places in Soho where you can eat outside. It's becoming more like France. Even more restaurants could have tables outside. There's enough pavement space. There aren't many cars around here, and pedestrians don't mind sharing. You sit outside and eat on Old Compton Street. I couldn't think of anywhere on the face of the earth that I would want to sit outside and eat less. It'd be like eating inside a dustbin. It's revolting down there. You want to eat out there? That's awful. The difference between here and the rest of Europe, and it's a huge difference, and it's why eating out in this country is not the pleasant experience that it should be, most of the time. I mean, there's probably a couple of places in London where you could eat outside in comfort. Out by Canary Wharf, there's quite a few places that you can eat outside there, because, crucially, there's no traffic. Pubs have gardens, and restaurants, some have gardens and terraces away from the roads, but most of them, they're putting their tables and chairs out on the pavement, which is just not conducive to good eating. You got drunks passing you by, and just people rushing to and fro on their mobile phones, and cars and lorries thundering past, and who would want to eat? We're in that mess. It's horrible. But in France and in Europe, they have squares. And in Europe, these squares will have not one restaurant that will be a chain, like it is in this country, like some anonymous American chain. They will have actual proper restaurants. You can remember those, can't you? Run by actual proper local people who have been running their restaurant for 10 years or 50 years or 5 generations or whatever it is. And it will sit comfortably side by side with another one that's just like it. The only place that I can think of that's similar is in Canary Wharf. There's this area that's by that big tower block that's just gone up. and it's about 5 or 6 restaurants all side by side, and they've all got their chairs and tables out, and they've all got different types of chairs and tables, so you don't sit in the wrong place and order from the wrong menu. And it's kind of like being abroad. But it's the only place in London that I can think of that's like that. Everywhere else, it's just not pleasant. You've either got one place that owns the outside space, or it's just a chain. Trafalgar Square, perfect example. They did over Trafalgar Square. Lord, was it Rogers? One of those big architect types. There's only 2 of them, isn't there? They get everything. Rogers and who's the other one? Don't shake your head at me. Foster. Rogers and Foster. One of them came up with, let's block off the north side of the square. And everybody started moaning and, how are we going to drive there? It'll ruin it, they said. Turns out it's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic idea. They should do the whole of the West End like that. Car-free. Marvellous. And so they said, great, we'll put a cafe there. Oh, people were rubbing their hands together. And what have we got? It's, rubbish is perhaps too strong a word. Or is it? It's nowhere that you'd want to actually sit down. They've got these uncomfortable benches, and I mean, they've got the benches, not many of them, and they're uncomfortable to the point that you don't want to stay. Like, do you remember McDonald's? I don't know if they still do. I haven't been in McDonald's for about 20 years, but they used to have perches, not actual seats, but something that you could lean your bum on, like they do on some tube trains at the end of the carriage. It's like a shelf that slopes, so you can't actually sit on it, so your legs can't relax, but you can sort of take the weight off your stomach a bit, so that you could just eat and not feel like you're standing up, but you don't want to stay once you've eaten. You leave, right? That's why they do it. It's as uncomfortable as what they've got in Trafalgar Square. You sit, you eat your dried whatever it is, and to not much pleasure, I would imagine, certainly in my experience. I mean, it ain't no gourmet experience, is it? And then you leave straight away because it's not pleasant anymore. You're surrounded by pigeons because these idiots continue to feed them. And it's just not nice. They could have made it so much more pleasant. They could have put actual proper cafes out there, right? 2 competing ones would have been great. But no, they gave it over to a chain. What's the chain called? Let's not name it. Let's not give it the oxygen of publicity. I've got no idea. But it seems like an opportunity missed, right? And that's pretty much the experience of eating out in London. Unless you know of somewhere that I don't, then you've got Canary Wharf, and that's it. Other than Canary Wharf, you're surrounded by traffic. Unless there's a pub that's got a back garden that's near you. Or you live over where Lucy lives. Where only the very best people live.
Ian Lee on Bob.
Hello.
How you going?
Yeah, all right. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Who am I talking to?
Nick.
Oh, hello, Nick. I've only just tuned in, but I was listening and I heard you mention Mr. Gottlieb.
Yes.
Yeah, and it sort of rang a bell with you, but you couldn't remember who it was? Yeah?
Well, I want to say Norman Wisdom.
No.
Is it Woody Allen? Mr. Oh, you know what? I know who it is now. It's a Marx Brothers thing.
Yeah, that's it. He's in a few of them, but he's in a night at the opera, yeah? He's a big pompous...
Like a German guy.
That's him, yeah, Mr. Gottlieb. Great. Yeah, that was it. I just thought I'd tell you.
All right, and it sounds like you did. All right, we've got to the bottom of it. Thanks a lot, Bob. Hey, do you want to play the game?
Yeah, go on then.
Do you know what it is?
No.
But you're game for a laugh.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, these are famous people saying the word and the prize, if you get them all, is anything you want.
Right.
Conditions apply. The presenter's decision is final, and no communication will be entered into. And by anything you want, I mean anything you want, which I will go out and buy with my money.
You're not happy.
Well, I would be, but I don't think you'll get one for me. Go on then.
But conditions apply. You understand that, don't you?
Yeah, go on then.
Right. Okay, these are super extra double famous people saying the word Now, I'm not cheating now. These are household names who will have appeared in the news almost on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Number one.
You know, like,
Who's that?
Bush.
Bush. Push, push in the bush. Quite right. Number two. Considerably different. The first one was sort of like the...
I was waiting for a bit more. That was what I didn't answer.
The first one was, I don't know, it was like going into banjo territory, wasn't it? In the back of your brain you were hearing dang-a-lang-lang-lang. And this one is a bit like being punched in the face.
Sounds like that bloke in Coronation Street, Bert.
I've got no idea who that is, I'm happy to say. He's much more famous than whoever it was you just said.
Oh, well. No, I don't know that.
Much more famous. Think, man. Could be very, very powerful very, very shortly.
Ming.
Ming. Ming the Merciless. No, it is not Ming.
Oh, right.
Ming. I don't know, there's just something funny about the name Ming.
It's not even spelt the same, is it?
It's not, no.
Where'd they get Ming from? It says Menzies.
I know, yeah, but the Menzies... Do Menzies exist down here as a newsagents? They do. Because in Scotland, Menzies is Mingies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what they say. Why they say that, I have got no idea. But, and how Menzies comes to be pronounced Ming is a mystery to me.
Give me that one more time, that voice.
Why so many Scottish people are running us and parties is also a mystery to us all. What's happening here? It's like we're being taken over by a mafia. And he's one of them. Huh?
Prescott.
Prescott. No, but he's getting closer. I don't know. Should we just take that as a no, or should we give him one more chance?
Go on, give me one more.
Another go, you say? Number two. Once more.
No.
Oh, no, you're a loser, baby, so why don't we kill you? But thanks for playing, Bob.
That's all right.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott, and I was talking about McDonald's just now. And do they still do that? Have shelves in McDonald's where you can almost sit?
I don't dine there.
Dine? You are posh, aren't you? No one dines there. They eat. And they're not restaurants, all right? They're cafes, at best. Do they advertise with us? No?
No.
Well, if they're thinking about it, everyone should have a McDonald's at least once a week. I mean it. Disney and McDonald's are ditching their Happy Meal deal after 10 years. The partnership, which saw movie character figurines packaged in a special box with burger, fries and drink, will end this year. The Los Angeles Times claims that, according to multiple high-ranking sources within Disney, they talked to Mickey himself, one reason for the move was the company's desire to distance itself from fast food and its links to childhood obesity. Huh. I wonder if Gary Lineker is considering distancing himself from childhood obesity, because it seems to me that he's continually promoting products that are doing just that. I mean, most kids these days, in profile, look like footballs, and it's his fault.
I mean, it's like beer promoting football. I mean, I guess as a fan you drink beer, but it's not a healthy alternative, is it? I mean, footballers don't drink a lot of it, which is why they look like that, and the fans don't. Right?
I like crisps.
You like crisps? Do you often dine on crisps?
Oh, yes. Not too often.
I can't remember the last time I ate a bag of crisps. I must have been at school.
You're
Who
joking.
eats? No, what adult eats crisps?
Oh, come on, there's so many posh crisps you can have now.
But there's no such thing as a posh crisp. They're just potato with chemicals sprinkled on them.
No, but they do all sorts of different ones now. I like the little, like, rice cracker jobs. I don't know if I should name the brand.
Rice crackers?
Well, like Thai bites, like rice...
Oh, you don't mean the actual rice cakes that are like...
No.
They're the sort of shape and consistency of beer mats.
That's right, yeah.
They're hideous.
Delicious.
They're awful.
Oh, I love them.
There's no drink that exists that you could... Yeah, right. That you could dip those in to make them edible.
They're good with a bit of hummus.
No, they're not good with anything. Rice cakes.
Sort of like rice cakes, yeah. They're called... they're just like the rice crackers.
Oh, crisps. Yeah, you're not talking about rice cakes, like a...
No, not like...
like
not
a
like
3-inch round...
No, although I do like salt and vinegar flavours of those, too.
There's no such thing.
There is. They're delicious. It's like having crisps, but they're really good for you. And I can eat 3 of those for only half a point. It's very good.
Half a point?
Yeah, with Weight Watchers.
Weight Watchers?
Yeah. Yeah.
You must be the thinnest person working in this building. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm not.
Anyway, do you want to get those? Yes, I don't know, it just kind of disturbs me that Gary Lineker, because the whole country is flat out in love with Gary Lineker, right? And crisps, despite Lucy's best protestations, are mostly eaten by children, because it's children's food. It's just crispy slices of fat. That's what they are. That's why they call them crisps. And, I don't know, I just find it uncomfortable every time I see him do it. Like it should come with a warning, you know? And the money he must be earning, and the problems that crisps are causing, I think there's something a little bit wrong about that. And how, by the way, as a BBC face, can he do so much advertising? I thought that was against the BBC's law, that if you're a BBC man, you can't actually advertise products, regardless of their of how posh and tasty they are, and how many points you accrue from eating them. I thought it was illegal for people on the BBC to advertise. So how does he get away with it? That's a direct question to you, Lucy. Not listening. Right, I'll take one in Hillingdon. Hey, Ian.
Hello, Nick.
Ian.
I'd like to play the game, because I think I finally got the second person.
Aha! So, well, that seems a bit bold and, you know, a bit,
I think you gave just a bit too much away on the last one.
It seems a bit callous to go straight into it. Can we not have a chit-chat first?
Well...
Or do you just want me to send you my money?
Well, the money would be nice, yes.
Hillingdon. What on earth are you living there for?
I have no idea. I was born there, and it's just... I've been captive there ever since.
Hillingdon? I used to live near Hillingdon.
Yeah, you lived in Ickenham, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
Oh, such a nice place that is.
Ickenham. Starts with the word ick.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm one station over.
Hillingdon? You must live with your parents.
Oh. Unfortunately, yes.
Right, because that's the only reason that you would still be there.
Yeah, I'm trying to claw my way out gradually.
The only reason that you're still in Hillingdon is so that you can continue to get your washing done for you. Right, I'm number 2.
That is Gordon Brown.
It is Gordon Brown. Gordon
your money yet?
Bennett. I thought we'd never guess it. When you know it... it's obvious, isn't it?
It is.
It's when
Do I
you.
get your money yet,
it's
then?
when no. There's a few more to go. It's when you don't know it that's the problem. Right. These are super extra double famous people. I am not making this up. In the news on an almost daily basis. We've had George Bush, Gordon Brown, and now Easy. Couldn't be easier. Who's that? One of the world's most famous people. Has been in the news every day forever.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Hello, employers. Just a reminder.
Here's Poshest Wandsworth. Hello, Peter.
Hello. Just a quick. First of all, I've met Tallulah, the lady with the budgie. I saw her once in Covent Garden with her budgie, and it's quite amazing. She has a travel case made out of plastic with various compartments in it. This budgie hops from all over the place.
You're not, you sound like, somebody who's been in Parliament all his life.
Thank you very much. God forbid. What I rang you up for, I don't know if you're aware of the megaphone preacher in Oxford Circus.
Am I aware of him? Yes, I single-handedly got rid of him last week. I spent an entire show asking why isn't this man being beaten to the ground by large policemen with their truncheons? Why aren't they using the taser on him, I said.
But you haven't got rid of him.
What?
You haven't got rid of him. He's got rid of his loud hailer. Apparently there was an ASBO against him in Oxford Circus. And if you now go down to where all the tourists are, in middle of Piccadilly Circus, the same man now appears with a loudspeaker and a microphone.
Well, no, he's always had a loudspeaker and a microphone.
Now in Piccadilly Circus.
So they've...
Which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he's gone from Oxford Circus to Piccadilly Circus. He was there all day today, and I was working in Regis. I was fascinated. He didn't stop talking for about 4 hours. I don't know what he's on.
Well, he's
gone from Oxford Circus to Piccadilly Circus.
He's on the happiness of knowing that Jesus is in his life, apparently.
Yeah.
Jesus has selected him. No one can believe it.
All the people in Piccadilly Circus, all the big stores are going bananas, but apparently they complained to the police, and they said, oh no, the ASBO only took effect in Oxford Circus, there's nothing we can do about it, so now he's got a new pitch in...
Oh, you are kidding.
No, I'm being very serious.
You know... You read things on a daily basis that just stagger the imagination in this country, that just go so far beyond common sense. You just think, you just want to get hold of Tony Blair personally and throttle him.
It's not Tony Blair, it's the local council, apparently. They only took the ASBO out to Oxford Circus, and they say all he's done is walk 900 yards down Regent Street, and there he is to all the light right in the middle of Piccadilly under Eros.
I'm stunned.
Well, the only reason I knew about him, because I heard you talking about him last week, and I thought, well, that's rather funny, and I inquired one of these community policemen, and they said, well, yes, we had lots of complaints, sir, but nothing to do about it. The ASBO was only effect for Oxford Circus, so we now have to wait for more complaints to us and Westminster Council before we can move it on. So
right, well, I'm complaining. I'm making an official complaint right now. Let's get rid of this bloke.
You go to Trafalgar Square next week. He's doing a tour of London, obviously.
he's taking his final bows. Let's hope so.
Says, do not get rid of me. I am the power of the Lord. Good night.
See ya. Oh, that guy is too painful, isn't he? I mean, if you've heard that man for more than 5 seconds, you just want to pull your ears off. An ASBO. You know, things used to be simpler when people just seemed to do the right thing. Now, we're up to our ears in... well, I know that everyone's going on about the human rights legislation. Quite right, too. It seems that we've gone completely insane in this country. And that nothing actually makes any sense anymore. And as I said, you read on a daily basis something that you just think, what? How is it possible that we've come to this state of affairs? Well, one of the reasons might be that all of the people in top jobs are lawyers. And who makes a lot of money out of all of this? The lawyers. Because as soon as you get lawyers involved, then if you've got a lawyer on one side, then you need a lawyer on the other, and the lawyers only speak to each other, like agents. Here's, Maidstone. Waz.
Hello?
Is your name Waz?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how's it going?
All right.
I haven't spoken to you, I think, before. I used to call Caroline a few times, and she used to be on a Saturday.
Okay.
You was talking about Chris and stuff like that, were you? They went you with Lucy, so I thought I'd call in.
All right.
And you were talking about restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
McDonald's, I don't really like them, but I normally go to Wimpy, they're pretty good.
Right. Okay, thanks, Wes. What a great call. We've got to have a lot more calls like that. That was excellent. This was like a roundup of what we've been talking about so far, and as the cherry on the cake, he didn't like McDonald's very much. I don't know, maybe we should bring him in as a co-host. Let's go to one in, all the way over in Preston. Hey, Leon.
Hello.
Leon.
Yeah, it was the thing you were saying about Gary Lineker and crisps, which is fair enough, but isn't it up to the parents to make sure the children don't eat the crisps?
You can't stop children eating crisps.
Oh, you can do.
No, you can't.
You can.
You can't.
Do you have children?
No.
Well,
but I used to be one, and when children are in school, no, you can't. How can you? You'd have to have them in a. You'd have to have them lassoed. You'd have to be following them around in school all the time. When kids go out to lunch at school, the first thing they want to buy is crisps. Lucy's never got over it. She's still mentally in school, totting up points.
Restrict their intake of junk food.
Yes, they should restrict their intake of junk food.
Parents can do. It's like you're saying when they're in school. If they've got no money, they can't buy any crisps.
Well, how can you send a child to school with no money?
Because what I used to do with my child is you give the school money per week for not treats. You know when they get snacks, and you say what you're allowed the money to be spent on, and it's not on potato crisps or whatever.
Well, and a child will take your word as though it were the word of God.
No, the school would not sell it to them. Well, not school my child went to didn't. Excuse me.
Yeah, but the children aren't buying their sweets, their crisps from school. They're going out to the...
No, I'm talking about the child I had was under 11, so she wasn't allowed out of the school to go and buy stuff in the shops or whatever. I know when the teenagers, they walk around the streets and blah, blah, blah. But...
Right. So, we're back at what I said in the first place. You can't stop kids buying crisps.
No, you can do, but...
But you can't.
No, the whole point is what I'm trying to say to you. If you get your child from a young age, which there's going to be loads of listeners here with children, if you get your kids at young age and stop them even wanting to have the potato crisps,
yeah,
they're not going to be like demanding them when they're. I mean, my little child. I mean, it was my niece. I had my niece living with me for 10 years. And I'm like, I don't like salt, I don't like flavourings on crisps. So the only crisps we ever had in the house were plain crisps, like with no salt on. So it wasn't really a big incentive to her to have crisps anyway. Because they weren't like cheese and onion or...
Leon, it doesn't seem like you understand children at all. Are you trying to...
I'm a trained nationalist, so I do understand children.
No, it doesn't sound like you have got any idea what you're talking about. Are you trying to tell me that if you tell a child not to do something, then it will automatically not do it? If you tell a child that not to eat crisps, then the only thing it will think about for the rest of the day is it wants to eat crisps.
Exactly my point, what I'm trying to say to you, if you listen to me. You don't tell a child... There's no way in a million years you can tell a child not to have something, because it's like, with children, when they're under 11 or older 11, it's anything to do with sex or whatever, you say, don't do it, they're going to do it. But if it's not there, there's no incentive. It's not. I mean, I brought my niece up to sort of. I mean, I'll give you one example. A prime example was, you know, when children get to about 8 years older and they start swearing. Well, she was more than obliged to swear in the house, but not out the house. So she never had to, you know, because children rebel against the parents. She had no rebellion in her. Because it was like, oh, come in the house and swear. But if I catch you doing it outside the house, you're in trouble.
And you're a nurse?
No, I used to be a nursery nurse.
A nursery nurse, and you encourage the children in your house to swear in your house. That's what the guy just said, right? He said you can swear in the house as long as you don't do it outside. That's pretty much what he just said. Am I right?
Yes.
I'm calling social services right now. If you prevent the child from eating crisps in the house, and you don't give it salty foods and you don't give it sugary foods, and what do you think it's going to be tearing its hair out to get all of those things as soon as it leaves the house? As soon as it goes into school, it's going to be surrounded by all of these things. All of its peers are going to be eating just that. And you think that it will forsake all of that because it's brought an apple with it? Of course not. Anyway, this guy's from Preston. What the hell am I doing even talking to him? Don't you have a local radio station that you should be calling?
Well, I'm speaking to you.
We're not local enough. I'm going to send him a phone directory. Preston. They've got to have a phone-in show in Preston right now. They must do. Here's one in Ashford. Hello, Dorothy.
Hello.
Dorothy.
Hello. I've had a little chat with Lucy, and she remembers now. Chiswick High Road would be the place to have...
What?
I said to have tables and chairs. I haven't been down there for many years
You
now.
just had a chat with Lucy and she remembers what?
Tables and chairs in Chiswick High Road outside the restaurants.
Ah.
No, so it's noted for its very, very wide pavements. Chiswick High Road.
Yeah, but why would you want to eat on a high road? That's just horrible.
That's just it. When I lived in there, it used to be quiet. You know, it was less traffic.
What, horse-drawn carriages?
But nearly. It was rather
You know, London, when you go past all these grand houses that are sitting on choking roads that are stuffed full of lorries and cars, and it's just a nightmare, and you can't sell the house because it's right on a main road. You think, when this thing was built, horses were clip-clopping by, and it was an oasis of peace and serenity. Doesn't that sound nice?
Yes, it still does partly strike you like that. Once you get away from the high road, what we used to call behind the high road.
What, behind the high road?
Yes, behind the high road. You get into the Grove Park area.
Is that what you called... Is that the area that you call behind the high road? The area behind the high road?
It's a terribly posh area.
Right.
Yes, it's very different. It's very expensive living in Chiswick.
I'll say, yeah. I mean, Lucy doesn't do this for free, you know.
Obviously not. Anyway, I thought I can't sleep, so I might as well talk.
You can't sleep? Why can't you sleep, Dorothy?
Oh, I haven't been well for a long, long time.
Oh, well, you and me both. Let's talk about illnesses, shall we?
I usually read, watch telly, and when I've had enough of that, I talk to someone.
When was the last time you had a 3-foot-long pipe stuck up you?
Where?
Where?
Yeah. I'm not with this. Is it some joke?
No, it's no joke. I just had that.
Oh, I thought that was Nick Ferrari.
No, Nick Ferrari's probably freshly asleep by now.
No, it's the first time.
I'll tell you what, though, Dorothy. I'll put you on hold.
Yeah.
You can speak if you stay there and remain awake. You can speak to him as soon as he comes in. All right.
Oh no, not that long. Thank you.
All right. Well,
I usually wake up for the other one when he's on.
Oh, the other one.
5 o'clock. Steve Allen.
Right.
Yes, I set the alarm.
You set the alarm?
Yeah.
Well, that does show a great
deal of affection for all of you. You're all good.
Right.
One after the other. It's getting a job to choose now, and it is a very good station.
Huh.
Ideal for people like me.
What? Ill people who can't sleep.
Elderly and can't sleep.
Great.
Elderly, old. I think old's the word.
We're going to put that on our next advertising campaign. Ideal for elderly people who can't sleep. Yeah. LBC 97.3.
It gives you a purpose. You don't lay here sort of just looking at the wall, or in this case, a dark night.
Right.
You know, it means a lot to have something like this.
Sure.
For late nights. Marvellous. Anyway, I'll let you get on with your...
whatever it is that I'm doing.
You're doing, yeah.
OK, thanks a lot, Dorothy.
Thanks for speaking.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
This is LBC 97.3. I'll be back, whoever I am.
Enjoy a great...
Hey, Anne.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Anne.
I'm sorry, I've never spoken to you before, because usually on a Saturday I'm not around.
Huh, where are you?
babysitting for grandchildren up the road.
Right. Nightmare, eh?
No, lovely. And now and then out with friends. But it's a pleasure to hear you. I've spoken on LBC a number of times to other presenters.
Oh, you're an old hand.
No, I don't want to say that, because someone phoned in once and was nasty, but he was banned. Anyhow, you're talking about junk food and kids. I've got 4 grown-up kids and 5 grandchildren. Doesn't make me an expert, but I've been around the block, right?
Well, don't do yourself down, Nan. That's an awful thing to say. Been around the block?
Oh, I don't mind. Oh, you do sound so serious. Do you know, I was going to say, you're a young man, and you sound a little bit... I'm not going to say straight. What's the word I can use? You have a bit of fun. You know, you were talking also about the man with the loudspeaker. Now, okay, he might get on some nerves, but Oxford Circus anyways and Piccadilly Circus are very loud, aren't they? You know.
Yeah, loud enough without this guy. There's nothing fun about this man.
No?
He should be beaten to the ground with truncheons.
Oh, you sound very,
angry.
You deserve... Maybe you should go to South America. They might... I'm sorry. I'm being a bit provocative. No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I should go to South America. Sounds great.
No, because
weather will probably be a lot better than it is here.
Well, they hit people all the time over
Well, maybe we should send him to South America. They could do us a favour.
Is he that offensive? No, actually,
oh, yeah, seriously, you go and listen to this guy.
No, I know Time Out have been talking about him.
Have they?
Enough. I've read about it. And some people support him, some people
No
don't.
one supports him.
No? Oh, well, I'll have to go and listen for myself, and that's only fair, because you can't really comment unless you know.
Well, you did.
Well, I did, because... Oh, you're a naughty man. You're tripping me up. You've been practising with Ian Lee, have you? Because he's the expert at that.
I can't say.
Hill.
I can't say I have.
Oh right. Oh, haven't you heard him?
I haven't practised with him.
Oh right. Okay, we'll leave it at that then. The thing about junk food and snacks and things, I think a little of what you fancy, you know, isn't. Or let's say for kids. I didn't give my kids lots. Well, they've never had not from me anyhow. McDonald's or Wimpy or anything like that. They never ever ate them. And then, of course, when they were
How much do they weigh, Anne?
Pardon? Beg your pardon?
How much do they weigh?
Oh, right. They are actually quite slim. The family isn't fat. And they've always walked and, you know, I wouldn't say they're terribly sporty. They play guitar, the boys. They're not football-y. But they've always walked about and been reasonably, quite healthy, yes. But the thing
like
is...
bipeds?
When they were older... I can't pretend they didn't go and buy a McDonald's themselves, but they weren't brought up in the culture of it, and they them as well haven't. The ones that have got their kids, 3 of the 4 have got kids. That's right. I'm forgetting how many kids I've got.
No one cares. No one cares, Anne.
Okay.
Where is this going?
I'm just saying that they didn't have a lot of junk food, and consequently they don't tend to get
Right, well, back in the day, there was no junk food for them to have. Everybody used to cook everything from scratch.
No, there were McDonald's and things when my kids were younger. There were they were Wimpy, certainly. I don't know if they were...
Wimpy's. Oh, you remember Wimpy's? They used to have photographs of the food. My favourite...
McDonald's in Twickenham.
Wait a minute. My favourite was the one that they cut notches in a sausage or a... it was like a Frankfurter type thing, and they bent it around a tomato. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the tomato, but it rings a bell.
But the sausage rings a bell.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
I bet it does. Anyway, thanks a lot, Anne. We've got to move on. Ta-da. What a nice lady. She was wound up like an alarm clock. Good grief. How can you be that verbose at this time in the morning? Huh? That's a direct question to you, Lucy. Where are you getting these people from?
I'm just keen to chat.
Chat? That wasn't a chat, that was a lecture. Could barely get a word in edgeways. Anyway, let's go with Twickenham to Putney. Hey, Rachel.
Hello.
Rachel.
I've spoken to you, but I've never heard you before, and it was so nice to hear somebody sensible agreeing with all the things I think. But I wanted to tell you about restaurants. In Putney...
Only people in Putney say restaurant. Like,
well, sorry
like
about
it's
that.
French.
I'm not going to apologise for speaking proper. Behind the bridge, there's a piazza now.
I know there is.
Well, you said there was nowhere, and unless you don't count Putney as London, you said there was nowhere.
It is barely. It's so. It takes so long to get from Putney to the centre of London that it's almost not London, isn't it?
Well, I don't want to go to the centre of London. Never
No,
been to
me either.
Kensington.
Awful.
It's smashing. I get on the 14 bus and go to Kensington. Or
The
Knightsbridge.
bus? You don't sound like a person who would use the bus, Rachel.
Don't I? I'm an old bat, and I can't walk very well anymore. But of course, I use the bus. 14 bus is marvellous. Why? What would I do? I don't drive a car anymore. And anyway, who the hell can park anywhere? Buses are wonderful. I hate to say anything good about Ken, but the buses are very good at the moment.
Right.
So I wanted to tell you about the Piazza. There are a lot of restaurants there where you know them.
Well, the problem with the Piazza there is the burger bar in the Piazza just by the bridge there, and the burger bar spews out this stench of burnt.
It's Tootsie's, isn't it?
I think it's Tootsie's. Yeah, the entire Piazza reeks of dead cow.
It doesn't.
It does.
No.
Of charred cows' parts, and just stinks of it. And they just, I don't know, they should put some sort of a funnel that goes up and takes the smell away, because sitting outside is completely ruined by the stench that comes out of that restaurant.
I do enjoy Carluccio's just the same.
Without mentioning any brand names. Carluccio's, you say? Mm-hmm.
Well, how else is it?
Well, the problem with Carluccio's is that they have a menu that doesn't change. Apart from that, they have specials every now and again, but basically the menu's the same. It's just this gigantic plate of tasty stodge, when you can only eat there like once in a blue moon. Otherwise, you end up looking like a blimp.
Well, you're very determined about everything.
Well, you got to be. I mean, if I come on the air and go, well, I'm not sure. What do you
I don't have
think?
lunch there very often. I love their coffee. But you can have beautiful roast vegetables, for instance.
I know. Aren't they great? Yeah. If only I could make it. How do they do that, by the way? How do they make stuff that's like that you couldn't possibly, in a month of Sundays, make for yourself?
You can. And I'm not going to start giving you recipes, but you can. It's a bit of a nuisance, but you can. I just want to ask you how long you've been doing this set, please.
This what?
How long have you been on Saturday nights?
Oh, like a couple of weeks.
Well, it's a pleasure, in spite of the fact that you're very argumentative. It really is a joy.
Hey, thanks a lot, Rachel. Do you want to play the game?
Well, I will, but I knew Gordon Brown. I don't think I know anyone. I'll try.
All right, well, there was Bush, and then Gordon Brown, and then this guy.
Marvellous hint.
Huh?
You gave a marvellous hint for Gordon Brown.
All right, well, this guy is one of the most famous people in the world. Easy.
I didn't even hear it.
He's been in the news constantly for weeks.
I haven't a clue, I'm sorry. I'm a pain in the neck. No, I'm sorry. No good. Give your money to somebody else. Lovely to speak to you.
All right, ta-ta, dear.
Much. Bye.
She's an infirm bus-riding pain in the neck. By her own admission. But nice to speak to her. Is there an ad break now? No! Let's go with, who's next? Scott. Croydon.
Hello.
Scott.
Hello, mate.
What's up? I'm sorry, I came over all Radio 1 hip-hop DJ there for a moment.
I was waiting
yo, yo, yo.
Because you're very harsh, aren't you? Very harsh.
Harsh?
You're harsh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of snobbery on your programme, isn't there?
From...
A lot of snobbery, I mean...
From the callers or me?
I'm from Croydon. Hello.
Yes.
And you seem very... Yeah, it's like a lot of snobbery on your programme.
In what sense?
Just, you sound very... I don't know, sort of sarcastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And?
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's just like, it's 5 to 1 and I couldn't really get asleep, so just turn the radio on and I just sort of listening to you and, yes, you're different, very different, yeah.
Right, you're not, I don't know, you're not selling me to me. Anyway.
You're not selling me to me, either.
You want to do this, right?
Yeah.
Right, well, the first one we know, George Bush. Second one is Gordon Brown. It's the third one we're sticking at. And the prize, and after this, there's only another 4 super extra double famous people, and then I'll buy you anything you want. I mean it. No idea. Any idea? Let's go with, Hayes. Hey, Mick.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, thanks.
I think I know the answer.
To what?
The competition you was just doing.
The third one?
I think so. I haven't been listening that long, but I heard you speak to that posh lady in Putney.
Well, let's have a little chit-chat before we get to that, eh? I mean, just giving my money away, it just seems a bit...
Well...
I don't know. So what have you been up to then, Mick?
I've been driving a limo all night.
A limo? Right.
Yeah, I got my own way.
Anyone thrown up in the back yet?
No, my ex-boss took him up to Wembley for a concert.
What concert?
One up in Wembley Arena. I don't know who it was, some Spanish bloke, I think, singing, I think.
Right.
I don't know who it was.
Well, when you say limo, do you mean one of these stretched American things?
Yeah.
Right. They're awful.
Why are they?
They're just embarrassing. I mean, people in America don't like travelling in those anymore because they're just embarrassing.
Yeah, but I can't... It's like, if you got 8 guys want to go out on the razzle of the night time, go out with a limo. Drink as much as you want in the back. Never have to worry about driving. Why not?
It sounds like you've been drinking as much as you want in the front.
I wish I had been drinking, but I'm afraid I don't drink and drive.
Right,
Never.
good for you, Mick. I believe you. Millions wouldn't.
You're right, but...
So no one threw... You had 8 blokes in the back, drinking all night long.
8 women, then?
And no one threw up.
Oh, well, throw up, it costs a lot of money.
There must be wipe-down surfaces all over in the back of your limo.
Well, there's all sorts of bits and pieces in the back. The end of the
Chunks, all sorts.
No.
Right, let's get to it, because we're running out of time. Who's this?
Tom Cruise.
Is the right answer. Who's this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That one's gone, I'm afraid.
Oh, no. He's a loser, baby, so why don't we kill him? I'm Nick Abbott, this is LBC 97.3. I'll be back on Saturday at 10. Bill Buckley is in after the new news.